Hi guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Symphony, and today we're going to be talking about what you should prepare for, advice, and things you should know before going into September. This series here on my channel is going to be a little bit different than the typical monthly reading. I aim to post a video either on the 15th of every month or around that time to give you about 2 weeks or so to get ready for the month to come. So the theme of this reading is going to be the fox. I have 3 cute little photos of foxes or something pertaining to a fox here in front of you. So you can choose between the 3. These are all photos I got from Pinterest, and I will make sure to link the names and stuff like that in the description, along with some of the resources I used to create my thumbnail and what's in the video. I'm going to start this small portion off before you pick your pile, kind of telling you the positive and shadow sides of the fox, okay? So some positive traits would be clever, observant, curious, independent, kind of playful, and kind of quiet and stealthy. But on the flip side, people often talk about foxes being, about foxes being sneaky, secretive, and, avoidant, kind of hard to know what they're gonna do, their next move. So, people always say, you're a clever fox, you know, or, when someone is kind of sneaking around a little bit, they might say, you're sly, like a fox. So, that is just some words and some things that people typically use to describe foxes, and I think it's pretty good to kind of put that out there as something for you guys to think about throughout this reading, and some of those things may come out throughout the reading that I'm about to do. Sorry if I'm stuttering a little bit or if my voice is a little bit raspy. It's been a very, very long time since I've recorded any content or videos for YouTube, so I'm kind of still getting used to that. But go ahead and choose from the 3 here. I'll give you some time to meditate and look at them a little deeply. Just kind of follow your heart. You can listen to more than one pile because there might be some things that resonate with you a little bit more. Hi, pile number 1. So I am very excited to get into this reading. I started off filming sitting in the chair, was not comfortable at all. So now I'm sitting on the ground and I have my mic kind of angled up above me. So I have a bunch of decks here. So I have a bunch of them. I will list them all down below and I'll tell you as I'm opening or shuffling them which ones I'm getting into, and there will be a photo on the screen that will kind of show you the cards kind of as we get a full spread going on. I will have a photo of all of the cards kind of laid out on the floor here in front of me with some crystals at the top, all cutesy and aesthetic. Anyways, so I'm just gonna jump straight into it. Okay, so the first deck we're going to be jumping into this with is going to be the Rose Bell deck. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle a few of these cards. I personally want 3 to 4 of these to come out. I kind of have a lot of cards that I want to get a lot of messages from because the month is a lot of days. The month is 30 days. There is going to be a lot of things that are happening going on. So I want to get quite a bit out of it. Oops. Whoa. Okay, Bubby, no. So my cat is still here, and he is very much into what I do, Darrow. He really likes to mess with the cards, but that's okay. We got to keep him in here, or else he'll be very, very sad if I don't let him be inside here with me. So, yes. So, the cards that you've got now that I am turning them all over, we have the card for news, wisdom, enemy, and plan. Okay, so we have to get ready for is definitely being enlightened by some type of form of news. Like it could be something like your gut told you that you might not really like this person or the situation or this thing, or something kind of told you to stay away. And um it's for me, I'm feeling and getting the vibes that like you kind of are already feeling this way currently. And I think your feelings are going to be valid and you're going to be told that what you thought was the right thing. Like how you felt about the situation or that person, your gut feeling was right and you were good to trust it and you are good to trust it. Now, I'm not saying like, go and point the finger at people, but if you feel like, okay, around this type of person, I'm not going to spread like the good thing that's happening to me because I feel like they may either be upset about it, or if I tell this person my worries, they may go and tell everyone else. So I'm going to keep this, I'm going to withhold this information from, them. Or in the month of September, something like that will happen. Maybe around the beginning of the month. I see a lot of twos here because news is the number 24 in this oracle deck. Wisdom is 42, and then plan is 22, and then enemy is 35. But I'm seeing a lot to here, so maybe like in the first part of the month, you may have a feeling like that, and then by the end of September, you're probably going to be like, yeah, I'm glad I trusted my gut. And it's about having a plan for yourself and not including, like, have a backup plan always. But when you are picturing your life, when you are manifesting, when you're thinking of the dreams, why are you including the negative people or the enemies or people who you don't want in your circle in your mind? So like say if you're thinking of like maybe you want to manifest just better things at work. You like your job, you like where you're at, or you like your school, you like where you're at, but you want to manifest better there. You know, maybe in your day-to-day life you have someone who kind of picks on you or makes you feel uncomfortable, or someone you don't like. Why in your mind, when you're daydreaming or when you're thinking of those things, are you thinking of those people coming up to you, or thinking of these people speaking to you? Or what if this person saw me with a nice bag that I'm manifesting? Would that person judge me? Would these people at work judge me if I came in with this Louis Vuitton bag that I manifested? Why are you thinking about what those people think? You have to plan your life around you and how you feel. Those people won't even exist. Maybe those people will kiss your butt, but why are you including that in what you're manifesting and what you want? So when you make your plans for the month of September, just be cautious of who you're kind of making plans with. If you feel like you don't want to feel like hanging out with a certain person, don't force it. Just be honest with them. Hey, I'm really not feeling it. My schedule's really busy this month. I'm not feeling it. Or kind of make sure you plan days where you're by yourself. Time to think, time to read. When I think wisdom, I think about reading. I think about being, you know, intellectually smart. And then school starts for a lot of people. School starts for a lot of people. So, maybe it has something to do with school or work or just knowing something, hearing big news, hearing news that matters. So just be prepared to hear news. As of right now, I'm not knowing if it's going to be good news or bad news, but it's going to be news. And I feel like it's something that's definitely going to enlighten you. And it's definitely going to aid you as you continue to make your plans for next year or for the end of the year, or whatever big plans you have coming up. But I am now going to read each one of these cards, their definitions. So the keywords are unexpected news, awaited news, declaration of love, contract, message, and information. It says here, this card represents nuances, information, the voice of the heart, intuition, which I was saying, it's like something with your intuition, everything associated with messages during a conversation. Due to Mercury's characteristics of curiosity for new things, the news card is often linked with new informations and relationships. It hints about content, the content or nature of the news can be found. Oh, it's just depending on what's in the spread. So if there's like a page of swords or other things like that within this reading, that will tell you what type of news you're gonna get. So kind of what I was saying, like kind of wait. I kind of want to see what like your tarot's saying before we harp on the news part, because we're not sure if that's good or bad. You know what I'm saying? News can always mean anything. News can mean you're getting a raise, or news could be, your financial aid got approved or something like that. As for wisdom, it says discernment, which is what I was bringing up before, intellect, tranquility, intuition, solitude, alone time, and contentment, which is what I was saying. Even like, realizing that it's okay to have alone time and it's okay to be by yourself, and you don't have to show up for every single person. Like, if you have a friend that you know won't go to Pilates class or the gym or the spa or a place like that without you going with her, it is not up to you to go every single time with her. If you want to go by yourself to a Pilates class, go by yourself. You don't have to be the person that is pushing, you know, that person. And to be honest with you, they need to have that growth on their own. I have a friend that I go to the gym with a lot, but she goes on her own time and I go on my own time. And then when we haven't seen each other in a while, we make sure to connect and have a gym date where we catch each other up on everything. The codependency aspect of friendship is something that a lot of people kind of act like it doesn't exist. Relying so much heavily on another person can mean codependency. And if you have a lot of friends who are codependent on you because you're a good person, because you're kind, because you're so smart, because you help them through every situation, you're always there for them, that stuff is good. Good friendship is always good to have. But if you are the reason why your friends have a good day or have a good time all the time, it can weigh on you. So just remember to have your own time to yourself, and that may make people turn into enemies, or not enemies necessarily, but people that don't feel like, oh, she's standoffish. She said she didn't feel like hanging out with me today. If that is their response to you having to take like a mental health day and be by yourself and rest after working hard, if that is their reaction, they are not a good friend, and they should not be someone who you are having in your life all the time. You can still have those people in your life, but if their opinion of you has to do with what you're doing for them or what you provide for them, that is not somebody that you should always have in your circle. You should have better friends who allow you to have your own life outside of them. You are the main character in your life, and you need to appreciate yourself and your hobbies and the things that you love. If you're running around, even if it's a relationship, if you're running around with your boyfriend and you're only ever doing what your boyfriend likes all the time, that can't be healthy, right? Because when are you gonna ever do what you like? You know, it's about finding a way to explain to somebody like, I kind of want to do something that's geared more towards me now, or today, like this date, I actually want to change it up. Can we do this instead? And if that person doesn't like that you are suggesting places that you like versus always being like, oh, you pick, that should tell you that that person is selfish, and that you should be around more people that incorporate what you like and who you are. Especially if they're in your lives, they should be there because they want to be there, not because you provide them, you give them an ego boost and you make them feel good. You should be able to feel good too in any connection, friendship, job, place, anything. You should not be the only person giving, you know? For wisdom, it's a card of Jupiter, by the way. It says that this card is similar to the Hermit and the Hangman. emphasizing emphasizes emphasizing refraining from making hasty decisions at this time. It's suggested to take time to ponder carefully and thoroughly, consider multiple perspectives. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I can't read today. Multiple perspectives. And perhaps the answer already lies within you. Take time to contemplate in silence and listen to the voice of your heart. And I'm pretty sure it said voice of your heart in the news card as well. So maybe you should get some crystals that connect with the heart chakra. Maybe you should do some heart chakra guided meditations, or just open up your heart more, and listen to your heart. You know, focus on yourself too, and it says here, focus solely on what you want without being influenced by other opinions and judgments, which I was saying, you have to remember that it's your life. So when you're planning your life, you don't have to always include other people in your plans. Obviously, if you live with your significant other, that's fine. And if you want to manifest nice things for other people, that's fine. But you should not always split your time between manifesting good things for others and yourself. Because sometimes you'll end up seeing those manifestations play out for those people faster than yourself. If you're married and your husband is starting a business and you're also starting your business too, but you're manifesting for both of you guys to have financial growth, which is good. But if the concept of manifesting is kind of saying it, putting it out there, and then letting go so that it can rise. And sometimes when it's your own manifestation, you find it hard to detach. But if you're trying to manifest for someone else, you're not going to think about their life and their success all the time, right? So that's you detaching from it and letting it go. And so it may cause, an issue because you're dividing your attention and you're dividing your manifestation powers up into multiple different groups when you should be making your mood board with you. You can include your love, you can include your relationship, you can include your friends. Of course, everybody wants their friends to have better job situations and better life situations, but if you're so busy being like, I want that for them and I want the best for them, and if you're constantly including them in your prayers more than you're even praying for yourself, it could be hard. And if you kind of limit yourself more on what exactly you want, but then, how do I say it? Because you are trying to think exactly what you want to manifest and you want it to happen in an exact way for yourself, when you go to manifest for the people in your life, or you think about manifesting or wanting better for the people in your life, you don't have a strict plan for them. You're not going to say, and then my friend opened up her email, Indeed, and the job at Chase Bank called her back and they gave her that job. And you're not going to say that. You're going to say, my friend is finally getting the job she deserves, that makes her feel happy, that makes her feel wanted and feel great. That's what you're going to say when you're manifesting for your friend. And so with you, you might be like, I am manifesting that I get an email that this company reaches out to me and then they partner with me and then I make this much money and I did. Well, why don't you just keep it light? Why don't you just say, I am going to manifest a job opportunity that allows me to do what I love without putting a price tag on it, that makes me feel comfortable, that relieves me of stress and helps me feel financially stable. Because when you put a number on abundance and when you put a number on things and it makes it harder because you're going to be feeling like you're looking for that number. You know what I mean? Because financial stability could mean anything for anyone, especially what state, city you live in, country you live in. Wherever you live, financial abundance could mean a plethora of things, because you could manifest a job that's right, crossing the line of financial stability, or you can manifest something that's double that. You know what I'm saying? So when you put like a limit on it, it can make it to where it's like, don't you want to manifest more than that? Like you're putting a limit on yourself. So just remember that when you're planning and you're making your mood boards and stuff, remember, do not limit yourself. You don't have to make an exact Like, I want to travel to these 3 places this year, because what if you could have traveled like to 5 places? You know what I'm saying? But yeah. And then we have the card that is enemy. This one says external enemy, third party, lies, gossip, manipulation, and competition. That's another thing I'm saying, is that some friends can be secretly in competition with you and you don't even know it, you know? It says the meaning of this card serves as a warning of disruption to peace and happiness due to external stressors. It signifies feelings of jealousy towards others' happiness, malicious desires for others to fail, envy of others' success, and selfish desires to ruin others' lives. The snake symbolizes these traits. Additionally, snakes shed their skin once a month, adding to their mysterious and deceptive nature. Hence why many myths and cultural contexts, snakes represent deceptive and cunning individuals who are different on the inside from what they appear on the outside. With no arms or legs, snakes quietly crawl on the ground, symbolizing the subtle yet discomforting presence depicted by the enemy card. So that's exactly what I'm saying. You never really know who people are, and they could be, oh, she's going for a job interview at this company. They could be doing that in their head, like, oh, she's going to have a job interview at this place. Like, I don't know if they're gonna get her because her resume's not that good, and that you don't want those type of people to be, you know, even speaking on you and your life. Like, there is a lot of things I rarely tell my mom. I love my mom so much. I love her a lot. But my mom is one of those people who can be like either a Debbie Downer or wants to bring up the negatives. They don't want to be optimistic, or they're not optimistic oftenly when told things. And if those people are in your life and you always are hearing that back, in your subconscious, sometimes it adopts what those people are saying, because your brain kind of wants to be realistic sometimes, and you have to distance yourself from people who are going to take you off of that path of optimism and that road of success. And for plan, it says constructive, solid foundation, balance, dedication, long-term project, thorough, stable, promising. And it says here, this indicates that you will soon immerse yourself in a new project. It is a positive card that signifies laying the groundwork for a new business venture or relationship. Even if you don't have immediate plans for something new, if you continue steady along the path you've been walking, you will soon reap significant rewards. It can be seen as a signal that you are currently on the right track. However, since it is not yet a card of completion, the outcome may vary depending on your mindset and approach. It is difficult to see this card as a perfect yes, which is just what I wanted to reiterate just one more time. Do not put your creative projects, your working projects aside to please anyone, to make time for others, if you know you can't hold yourself accountable. Okay, if you were supposed to go home and finish that painting that you wanted to sell, or finish that artwork you wanted to sell as stickers, right? Imagine if you were supposed to do that after work, but then your work friend's like, girl, let's go get some dinner. And you do want to hang out with her, but you did hang out with her last week and you were supposed to make those stickers and you've been putting it off for the past 3 to 4 days. It's time for you to be like, sorry, girl, I really have a project that I got to work on, and I've been procrastinating it for a while. And if your friends really care about you, they'll be like, girl, that's fine, that's okay. I can go home and cook something up anyways, or I had some leftovers anyways, and move on. But make sure when you go home to hold yourself accountable and do those projects, because it can be very easy to go off that path because you get distracted. And if you get distracted, by others that want to take you off the path or do take you off the path, that could be something that is your downfall. Do not let relationships and people and jobs and things hold you back from your true potential. You know, you got to get at it. And I can say this as someone who kind of has been in this situation. I'm not currently in it anymore, but I was in this situation, some months ago where I was kind of like hanging out with friends, then working, picking up shifts and covering shifts and working. Then I was hanging out with my friends, then I was going on dates with my boyfriend, and sometimes those dates were kind of, I didn't really tell him whatever I wanted to do because I was happy to do whatever he wanted to do. But once I started to give my own suggestions and my own movies I wanted to see and my own things, it got better, Once I started to be like, okay, I want to go to Pilates this many times a week. So I'm gonna make sure I put aside this amount of money instead of like, spending a crazy amount of money on date night or buying people gifts or buying things for my boyfriend all the time. I'm going to set aside $70 so I can pay for class pass. Following through and making time for those things you need to get done. Making time to do laundry. If you have to wake up a little earlier and be a little more tired at work to get your things you need to get done, do it. If you have free time, just do it. You know you were supposed to do it, just do it. Just keep remembering that in your head. And sometimes that's the motivation that we need to push us forward. And now I'm going to go ahead and shuffle my Moonology Oracle deck. And I'm currently filming this right now during the eclipse, I think. Or the solar eclipse or something like that. Because I'm currently filming this on the 12th. And I think Stardust, the app, just told me that it's the eclipse. So it says here, don't let your past hold you back. South Node. You could be like a Capricorn, a Virgo in the South Node. I think you could be someone who is calculated, or tries to be very calculated or wants to be very calculated. And you do have it in you. You do have it in you to organize. You do have it in you. You just have to make that conscious effort. And it takes a while to create habits. I recommend going online and looking up like how to create habits or how to, make your brain create habits. All right. So it says, don't let your past hold you back. A win-win outcome is forecast. And those are two cards that I just wanted to get two from this. So we're going to go to the South Node card real quick so I can go ahead and read it to you. And it's, the win-win outcome is going to be the full moon in Libra. So the South Node, like the North Node, is a karmic point, but it's opposite to the North Node and relates to the past, perhaps even to past lives. Whatever you're going through and whatever you're asking about, there is a chance that old age programming and conditioning is stopping you from achieving all that you might. That's what I was trying to say. Do you feel stuck in something? This card will often come as a sign that a situation or relationship that you're asking about has somehow become suffocating and even toxic. It suggests that someone, you even, needs to be released, that there is some kind of addiction going on or an unhealthy attachment that needs to be sorted out. One thing is for sure, when you get this card, you're being challenged to make some changes, even if staying where you are feels easier and safer. Attune to the moon, and it says, I release the past. Additional meaning for this card. A relationship is karmic and has played out across many lifetimes. Your attraction to someone may be verging on obsession. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. And it says here, it shows us what we are likely to become obsessed with, but which will probably do us little or no good. The South Node is karmic It's the karmic astrology point that reminds us of the well-known phrase, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. So, funny enough that this card came out before I even pulled it to say, like, you have, wait, did I already pull it? Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Maybe? I can't remember. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Sorry guys, my memory, like, I have the memory of, like, Dory or something. I'm sorry. But it's true. Sometimes our mental conditioning that we receive from our parents, past relationships, just growing up, even just watching TV shows, seeing certain people in the world, like seeing the way certain people navigate in the world, that stuff sometimes really does affect our subconscious mind, and sometimes we really do not know it. And sometimes it does take constantly repeating things over and over again. Like, I'm someone who would look at myself and be like, I'm fat. I literally would look at myself in the mirror and be like, I look fat all the time. And when I got in a relationship with my boyfriend and he would hear me say that, he'd be like, stop saying that. I hate it because you're not fat. And I remember breaking down in the car. I was crying. I was like, I'm never going to be able to be skinny. I'm never going to be able to be the size that I want. Like, crying, crying, crying. I'm gaining more weight no matter how much I try. And he was like, you have to want it bad enough to where you really can push yourself to make that change. And he was someone who really pushed himself to make a change. Like, he really went through a lot to get to where he is now, body-wise and stuff like that, that he was very inspiring to me. So when he was saying, like, he just wanted it so bad, he was tired of feeling that way. Like, when people would look at him a certain way, he hated it too much, so much to the point where it catapulted him into, you know, figuring out a way to get more protein and get less calories, figuring out a way to go to the gym every day he could at 5 a.m. If 5 a.m. was when he had to go, he got up at 5 a.m. He's a 5 a.m. gymmer. He just had to jump right in and just go for it and reprogram his brain. You know, and every time I would even think about, like, thinking like that, I'd be like, all right, I just gotta, when I go, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna walk some more, and I'm not saying that by any means. I am not saying that there's anything wrong with any weight size, but everybody has things that they're insecure about, if that makes sense. And sometimes you have to put in a little more, just realize where you may be holding yourself back by doing things that you normally do. I love Starbucks, but I was getting, like, Starbucks drinks that were like, would fill me up like a full meal, and then I would still eat like a bunch on the side. And I realized that I'm like, there's a lot of Starbucks drinks that I can drink where I don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, sacrifice, feeling healthy, if that makes sense. Because I was someone who would put sugar on everything. That was the biggest thing that I did. I just cut back sugar in certain ways. I kept it in some areas and cut it in others. And I started to see a visual change in me and the way my body felt. I moved more into a healthier diet. And after I did that, it made me realize I was really holding myself back by not realizing things that I could change that could help me feel better about myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm wearing these same clothes that don't make me feel flattered. Well, go to the store, try on some clothes that, find what makes me feel flattered. And that's what I did, and it really helped me. Okay, so now we're gonna jump into the win-win outcome. So it says here, full moon in Libra, the sign of partnership, of falling in love, and closely relating to someone else. Since full moons are about climaxes and conclusions, this card suggests that you're either about to start a new relationship or that a important one that exists is changing somehow. Perhaps coming to an end or moving to the next level of commitment. It is important to remember that people come to us for a reason, and sometimes just for a reason. If a relationship is ending right now, it is doing so at the right time, so do not try to fight it. This card can also refer to a professional relationship. There is a sense that you need to balance your ego with someone else. A win-win outcome is possible with give and take. Doing so may be the answer to your question. it says attuned to the moon. Let go of let go of that which is falling away. Additional meanings for this card is see the other person through the eyes of love. It will change your perspective. It is time for you to make a firm decision. Time to focus on yourself for a while, which I said. Look after yourself, but avoid vanity. Now is a great time for a makeover. So I think I'm going to let that speak for itself, because I think it really genuinely gave what we needed to give. Like, we needed it to give. Like, it truly kind of sums up what the other cards said before. So just realize that if things begin to kind of, I don't want to say slip, but if things begin to change in a relationship, it could change for good or it can change for bad. Who knows? But it could be like this person who you've been dating for a while kind of wants to put a title on it, or someone you've been dating for a very long time wants you to meet their family, or a person, they might be talking about marriage and the possibility of like wanting to take that next step in the future. And how do you feel about that? How do you feel about children? Just things, conversations and things like that will come up. But just remember to move from your heart space. Remember what you want, remember what you love, and what serves you and what serves your heart. Okay, you cannot let someone take your heart from you and not get anything back. You cannot let someone step on your heart and pretend you're fine. And you cannot allow your heart to break because you want to satisfy someone else. So just remember those things. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get into the Rider-Waite. Wait, should I get another oracle? No, let's do some tarot. Okay, you need to know what more. And I'm gonna try to get like, I'd say like 3. So let's do 3 of the Rider-Waite deck. And it's one of those ones that have like the cute words at the bottom, so I'll read those off. Okay. Okay. So, and then we're gonna do one more. Alright. So, we have the Justice card, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Queen of Cups, which is the best thing. And then underneath the deck is the High Priestess card. So intuition again and sacred knowledge. It says the subconscious, divine feminine, trust yourself, sensitivity, purity, and high morals. So it says here, justice upright is fairness, truth, clarity, equality, balance, cause and effect, and law. For Ace of Pentacles is abundance, manifestation, opportunity, new career or financial opportunities, new ventures, prosperity. It says that Queen of Cups is compassion, comfort, calm, nurturing, healing, emotionally stable, intuitive, and caring. So in Justice is 1, is like 1, 1, so it's 11, and then the Ace of Pentacles is 1 for Pentacles, and then the Queen of Cups here, it has the, I want to say that is the Libra sign. It's the sign with the 2 lines and the 2 things going across. Oh my god, I'm so bad at this. I kid you not. I believe that's not Libra. That's another zodiac. What is zodiac? Or is that even a zodiac? Yeah, just a zodiac. Because it has here Pisces. And then it has Gemini. That's what it is. Gemini. So, Gemini? Is that Gemini? You guys, I'm freaking out because I know it's not. Yeah. So, Gemini? Okay. I think it's Gemini. And that looks like 2 ones put together. Sorry. I just needed to get that part out. So, I think here, where it says new opportunities and Justice and Queen of Cups. So, focusing on the Justice card, I'm going to say that, like, things, I think what it is that you have to give up that grasp of protecting people who have hurt you. Because I feel like we always get in this mindset of, I'm turning the other cheek, and so I don't want anything bad to happen to people. And I'm a good person, and I don't want to see someone suffer. But the way that the law works, the way that, like, if you have where someone owes you money, and like, say you're I hate to say bring up baby daddies, but I'm just gonna say maybe you are owed something like child support or something like that, and it feels sad that the law has to step in for you to get money for your child, but you cannot let yourself feel bad about that. You have to just accept that that person is going to have to go through a hard time, because that is the law. You need to take care of your baby, you need to take care of yourself. And use that example, but that can apply to anything. If someone was to I don't want to say like anything really really bad, because I don't think it's anything that's that bad, but if someone is gossiping behind your back to your boss and then they end up getting fired because they end up getting reported to HR, they should have never done that. Yes, someone you knew that you didn't know was a bad person kind of got fired because of something pertaining to you, but that's not your fault. Same thing with karma. There's good karma, there's bad karma, but if somebody is doing something bad to you, what goes around comes around, and you have to be okay with letting them slip from your grasp so they can experience that karma. You have to let them in the situation go so that they can experience that, because everybody goes through karmic cycles. Everyone goes through karma. Everyone goes through those things because it is meant to enlighten us in this life. And so you cannot force yourself to protect someone who it's not up to you to try to prolong justice. Let your guides, let the universe, let everyone around you handle it, and focus on yourself, your craft, and bettering yourself, because that is what's going to get you to the Ace of Pentacles and the Queens of Cups moment. Because imagine if you care so much about your job, you're pouring so much into your job, where you miss a meeting or you miss going somewhere that could have made you meet someone that opened up an opportunity for you. What if you're staying with this ex, right? And that guy that held the door for you at the gym could have been your husband. I'm not trying to say too much, but like if this guy is really toxic in this relationship and it's really hurting you, maybe you need to realize that you are nurturing and caring for him more than you're doing it for yourself. And maybe you have to leave that person so that real love can come in. And sometimes that's what happens. Yeah, I think that's what I'm seeing here for this. We might not get into the Edgar Allan Poe deck because I feel like I like where we're at with this. So now we're gonna do the karmic or karma cards. So we're talking about karma, which is good that I have these. It is like, I think it's an older deck if I'm not mistaken. It just has planets, houses, and signs. And I like using this because I also have the archetype deck is what I'm going to end off the reading with. But the karma one, it's got a little bit of everything, and I think it will help teach you and whatnot. Kind of figure out your way and kind of figure out what you should focus on. Because sometimes when people give you advice, it's really good, it's great, it's amazing, but I also think sometimes it's like, how the hell do I implement these things that you're telling me into my real everyday life? Like, it is truly not as easy as people make it out to be, and I understand that, and I get that, and I'm here with you on that, because there's sometimes I watch readings, like, I love Roseology so much, and I feel like she, out of everyone, Roseology gives the best readings, because I feel like I always understand, like, I never leave it not knowing what to do. But there's some times where it's like, I got this advice, but what do I do? Like, how do I do it? How do I do what you guys need me to do? Alright, so we're gonna shuffle. I'm thinking for these, maybe I'll try to get 3 cards. If I get a sun sign or something, that means the guys in the universe are working hard to get a good message out. Let me keep shuffling. Okay, So I got 2 cards that came out. Oh, okay, so underneath the deck is in Gemini. So maybe something that happened in Gemini season matters to you. Maybe that's when you kind of opened your eyes and saw like maybe this relationship or maybe this friendship is something I should be genuinely worried about. Because sometimes you never know. So let's get into it. Okay, so for the first card, we're going to read the book definition for the 3rd house. Okay, it says, the 3rd house derives its meaning from the 4th house. While the 4th house represents your home base, the 3rd house is associated with all the ways you and your home base are connected to the outside world. For this reason, the 3rd house represents your neighborhood, the area in which your home lives, and becomes connected with the outside world. The kind of special support given by the nurturing, all-forgiving parents symbolized in the 4th house will not be often found anywhere in the outside world. The 3rd house is for experiences with our brothers, our sisters, our aunts, our uncles, and relatives that prepare us for experiences with society. In some cases, neighbors are associated with the 3rd house, but only if they interact with you on a fairly regular basis, an unusual occurrence nowadays. The routine interactions associated with the 3rd house include both the short trips required to visit relatives, neighbors, and local businesses, as well as the communication of informations and techniques that are found in these trips. And so conversation, as well as reading, writing, and all the methods and devices that facilitate communication comes under the heading of 3rd house matters. They reinforce the concept of making connections with the world around you. In fact, it makes perfect sense that the house of connections is also the house of relatives. Sometimes it's true, it's whom you know and not what you know that counts. The connection with reading and writing and the communications of information and techniques brings the subjects of basic education into the realm of the 3rd house. Both aspects of basic education, teaching, and learning of it are included. The sign and planets in the 3rd house of the horoscope, symbolizes how we feel about communicating with the world around us. It says the 3rd house is ruled in the sign Gemini and the planet Mercury. So we did get the overall energy with Gemini. So there is that, and that was just me reading from the book just a little bit. And I just wanted to say that I 100% agree with that. I think that it's really the people who you grew up around. It's really the people in your house. There's really the city you live in, the country you live in, the state that you live in. Sometimes it can create how you view the world and how you move around in the world. Like, I'm from somewhere where it's not a small town, but it definitely feels like it. And we're so caring, we're so kind, we're so, community. But if you move to a place where there is no community, it feels so weird. It feels like you're the odd one out, and sometimes when you live in a place with no sense of community, it really is you're on your own. And maybe you need to learn to be more independent, or maybe you are independent, but you've moved to a place where you have to have other people's back. You have to be part of a community. And so you have to get out of that mindset of, well, I don't need help from anybody, but I'll help other people, but I don't need their help. But sometimes you need their help. even when it comes to things like school and stuff like that. Maybe you grew up in a household where no one got degrees, no one had high paying jobs, and no one made a salary, but now you're trying to move through adulthood, getting your degree or getting a job with a lot of money. It can be hard because you can doubt yourself. You can doubt yourself a lot, and you could think you have imposter syndrome. But you have to keep pushing through, because if you want a better future for yourself, you have to rewire those parts of your brain that hold you back from what you need to do. And now we're going to move to read Pluto. And it is currently thunderstorming outside. We love that. And my cat is looking at me like, girl, I'm scared. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Mama's here. All right. It says, for astrologers, Pluto is, was, and always will be a planet, and one of the most powerful planets too. As you've probably noticed, as we have progressed in our description of what energies the planets represent, the descriptions themselves have become longer and more complex. Well, good news, because Pluto is the last one. That is so funny. It says it even has two symbols. The first symbol looks like a simple combination of the first two letters of the word Pluto, or the initials of, and I do not know how to say that word, the man who predicted Pluto's discovery. It may have been used at first for those very reasons, but if we apply our understanding of the cross, the crescent, and the circle, we will see that either conscious or divine planning seems to enter into that same glyph for a complex planet. It says here, Pluto has come to be associated with the process of breaking down and decaying that an entity, item, or situation goes through at the end of its useful life, and a process that reduces it to its most basic component parts and then allows them to once again take form and be reborn, like the mythical bird, the phoenix. And the phoenix kind of isn't the phoenix like the colors of a fox? Okay, maybe I'm just reaching there. But it says here, said to rise from the ashes of its former body. The crescent represents both intellectual and emotional halves of the individual soul, remains attached to the cross of matter during this transition, signifying the soul's transcendence of death. Knowing that Pluto rules both the highest and the lowest makes me think that the dangers will balance out and lead to an equal benefit. I pray we live to see it. Okay, guys, I am trying my best to not read this whole thing, but I do think that there's parts of here that I'm skimming through that I really think you should know. It says that while Neptune is sensitive to existing fully in the material world, Pluto succeeds in gaining its power for the individual soul by balancing the three folds of nature, of personal experiences, of body, mind, and spirit. And doing so overcomes the seemingly vast difference that separates it from the life-giving sun, the ego, and fulfills the ego's purpose. Keywords are transformation, power, transcending, resurrect, purge, regenerate, ruthless, merciless, absolute, control, obsession, breakdown, judge, which we have obsession. I think we had something with obsession already. Pretty sure we did. And then we also have another time of seeing judge or judgment. So there is that. It says power struggles, eliminate, death, and rebirth. And it says, this is the message. It says, If you continually purify yourself and your goals, work for the good of all, I will help you. By gaining control of yourself, you will gain control of your world. It says Pluto's warning. If your goals become selfish, I will aid those who will band together to pull you down. As far as your purely material goals are concerned, it will be as if you are powerless. So, once again, it is talking about doing things because you love it and following your heart. Just so you know, you do not have to be stuck in a career because it makes you a lot of money if you are unhappy. I know, and I'm not saying that from a place of privilege either. Like, I hate my daytime job. I do. But not like a bunch, but I love the people there. I love it, but it is a corporation that ups prices, changes prices, and just, it's retail. You know, it's like corporate makes so much money and we barely have anything to show for it because our job doesn't even pay us commission, but we're not going to get into that. What I'm saying is that you don't have to sacrifice what you love. You don't have to sacrifice your art. You don't have to sacrifice your creativity. You don't have to sacrifice any of those things just to make money, because you can make money from those same things. If you love art, you can sell art. If you love to crochet and that is your hobby, maybe you could come up with some patterns for people, or you can nurture it to the point where maybe you can host a class, even if you teach the people in your lives, and maybe they're like, post a video on YouTube, and then you are able to do what you love and also make money from it without feeling pressured to continue to do it for money, if that makes sense. So like, if you want to sell stickers for a few months, or vines, or is it called vine zines, if you want to create like a book of, you know, things you like, or if you want to combine drawing your anime characters as different like celebrity moments on the runway and stuff like that, and post it onto things like Twitter, and do, like, next thing you know, you're doing tutorials for art, and you continue to trickle down. Next thing you know, you're getting sponsorships from people. And even if you're only, and I say the word only, but it's still a lot of money, maybe you are gonna end up getting paid for that hobby, you know, a good amount of money, maybe 4 times what you're making now, maybe 2 times what you're making now. You never know, you know what I mean? So you just have to go and put yourself out there, because you can make money from anything. Literally, there are people that make money in every single niche out there, and there's always an audience ready to find someone new and a fresh face and to get to know somebody. So don't, you know, if you want to help people, but you don't want to be in medical, you could try nonprofit work. And there's a lot of certificates online that you can get for nonprofit work. You can get grants. You can get like a grant certificate. If you love, you know, you want to do something like human resources, there's a certificate you can study and get for human resources. That way you can make yourself have a better job while feeling like you're putting good into the world, and then maybe good will come back and trickle on you, and it definitely will. It's just remembering to follow your heart and to go to be with somebody that does not love you because of money, because of security, can really hurt you more and make it harder for you to do what you want to do. Maybe those roadblocks in your way are trying to help you. And I'm not saying that you would have to drop your whole entire life to leave someone and leave a house and leave your job. Just find a way to slowly get yourself in the door, and that's part of that plan, that path. Make a plan to do what you love, because that can make you money just as much as, you know, the next, you know, thing that you force yourself to do. Now that we're done with Pluto, we're going to move on to the 11th house. The 11th house derives its meaning from the 10th house. But while the 9th house is concerned with the authority of concepts, ideas that are already respected by the world, the 11th house is concerned with the authority and concepts and ideas that are proposed by you and the people with whom you share common bonds with, that is not romantic in nature. The obvious group of people with whom you identify is your friends. In addition to the fun you have throwing and attending parties together. Being with your friends makes you feel good about who you are. The pressures of accomplishing 10th house goals are made lighter by associating with people who appreciate you for who you are right now. Sometimes, but not always, your friends are the people who share goals with you and are themselves engaged in similar careers. But even when people are not close friends, you can still derive substantial benefits from joining with them to form associations, clubs, and unions. All groups of people with shared goals come under the roof of the 11th house. Of course, anyone who has ever belonged to a club, a union, knows that sometimes it's easy to forget that every member shares a common goal. The petty differences that may arise are natural in a group of people with different hopes and wishes about the way common goals should be reached. Those with independent viewpoints are usually viewed by the world as eccentric and geniuses. The 11th house contains a spirit of creativity symbolized by its opposites, the 5th house. But in the 11th house, this creativity is not expressed solely for its own sake, as in arts, but to become the spirit of invention harnessed for the good of the group. Abstract thoughts become a necessary tool to be used when we desire to invent something. We must be able to envision something that has never existed before, and to do that, we must examine what exists now as if we have never seen it before. This process results in creative mutation that is only possible if we dare to focus our 11th house problem solving abilities, extensive imagination, and dreams of a future yet to be. This represents science in its purest form. So, that is something for you to think about. I think friendships and relationships are a lot here in your reading, and sometimes we are content with the friends that we do have, and with the whole enemy thing, and with like maybe you may share an idea to your friend and they don't really like that idea, or they're like, oh, I never heard of that. If you're ever telling someone something and they're like, oh, I've never heard of that before, or I don't know what that is, sometimes that's someone dismissing you, and sometimes it's not. Maybe they just don't know. But it feels better when someone's like, oh my God, yes, I know what that is. Yes, like, and you're able to have a connection. So just pay attention in September where you meet people that you may not typically see yourself hanging out with day to day, but you still get their phone number, you still get their Instagram, because you never know, maybe on their Instagram they'll post something about a crochet club that they have downtown in your city, and now you get up and you go and you meet all these people who come together to make crochet and sell things to each other and hang out with each other, and it makes you feel lighter, it makes you feel better, it becomes a part of more of who you are, and you feel yourself become more of who you were always kind of meant to be. And you kind of grow into yourself and you realize you're not alone in these weird things. Like, if you're someone who really enjoys anime or K-pop, and you kind of talk to your friends at work and they're like, oh, I don't know anything about anime, or I don't know anything about K-pop, and you kind of feel more shut down. You never know. There could be someone in your office that does like it. You just never spoke to them before. Or maybe if you bring up to your friend, I kind of want to go to a anime convention, and they're just like, I don't know too much about anime. Maybe you need to go to that convention with maybe your sister or your brother, or maybe you can even go with your boyfriend or something. Go to those type of things, because you may meet people who make you feel so much better, and you realize, like, damn, those friends I had, we had damn near nothing in common. I still enjoyed their company, but damn, being friends with this new group of people makes me feel way more supported, and when I'm supporting them, they're supporting me back, and that feeling really feels like no other feeling in this world. Like, relationship I am now, we support each other so much and we uplift each other in our hobbies. And I'm never ever, you know, felt so like supported in those moments where I feel like other people would have judged me. Like he'll listen to me rant on about my K-pop and I'll listen to him rant on about his, hobbies. And I love it, the light up on his face. It means a lot to me that I love that about him, but he also loves that about me. And trust, you will find somebody who does that, You should never find yourself being around someone who only wants to talk about their hobbies, but when it's time to talk about you, they shut you down. It doesn't feel good, and maybe you should find people who won't do that to you, and that way you feel better. And that way, when you're planning out your life, you're including people who will support you when you go through those big changes and you manifest that big career. You won't have friends who are hating on you because of your success doing the niche hobby that you never thought would blow up, but you'll have friends that are also part of that niche hobby, and maybe you can network. If you're someone who is, part of the LGBT community, and you constantly go to clubs where there's not really, people part of your community there, and it makes you feel uncomfortable because that's all you have friends with, sometimes you might have to go to that club, to a gay club, and experience that, and maybe you'll have someone who's a friend that's like, I mean, it's not really my thing, but let's go. And you go, and then you meet friends and you meet people who you resonate with so much that you would have never met if you took that step. Never put yourself in a dangerous situation. But what I'm saying is going out there, like Facebook has a bunch of groups, and online they have so many groups and events for so many different niches you wouldn't even know existed. And now we're going to move on to the moon card, and then I'm going to do your wild archetype, and then we're going to close out the reading. But let's get to this last card. I'm sorry, I'm rambling a lot. We have the moon card here. It says the symbol shows the waxing moon. The semicircles symbolize the division of spirit, or all there is to individual souls. The moon is always changing her shape because she causes the tide to wax and wane along with her. She has come to represent our ever-changing moods, emotions, and feelings that wash over us. And yet, as she reflects the sun's light, she changes shapes in a regular, predictable cycle. And so we also associate the moon with habits and responses. The moon's period of rotation, or more simply, the time between full moons, is 28 days and corresponds closely with the menstrual cycle of a woman, linking the moon to fertility as well as motherhood. The moon rules the breast and the stomach. And it says the new moon, unseen but watching over us, represents our intuition, unconscious attributes, patterns, and past conditionings. And it says keywords here are emotions, moods, feels, intuitions. It says nurturing, protecting, unconditional love, adoption, our past, our motherland, cooking, homemaking, conditioning, and writing that comes from the soul. The moon's message is identify with the other, and you will understand both of your situations in the deepest, most helpful way possible. And it says nurturing should produce strong, independent individuals with minds of their own, not carbon copies of the nurturer. Boom. Sometimes we tend to have our parents and our mothers to want us to be exactly like them. And that shit can be so annoying because it's already hard as it is to be someone who is different, but then to have your mom to be the person judging you, it hurts really bad. And so sometimes we will subconsciously say that my mom was right, or sometimes you'll say maybe she was right, or me. And anytime you say something like that to yourself, just take a step back and say, I am my own person and I create who I am. And I am the person that I'm going to be because I feel like I resonate with that. You are not a carbon copy of your parent just because maybe they've given you PTSD. If your parent was a narcissist, sometimes it can give you PTSD to where you have narcissistic traits, and sometimes that can cause you to feel as if you are your mother, but it's just a trauma response. And sometimes you're not easily to anger, but sometimes you get frustrated because you grew up with a parent that got easily frustrated with you. Or maybe you're someone who breaks down often and can't handle a lot because you grew up having a parent who kind of was hard on you. If that's what I want to say, that's kind of like hard on you and treated you a certain way. Oftentimes, that is what kind of causes us to close ourselves off. We're scared that people around us are going to judge us the way that our parents did. And I kid you not, a lot of the times that's not going to happen. And if it does happen, pick yourself up and try again. You cannot let one person's negative look on you create who you are. You cannot let those people change you for anything, because you're meant to be who you are in this moment, in this point of time. Okay. The card you got for the wild archetype is the shapeshifter, which is a very good card for you to get, because I think that you are someone, especially in a reading where you're picking a fox. Yeah, because I feel like you're the type of person where you will be able to kind of, realize, okay, I need to pull back a little bit. I need to, not say too much to this person, because I know that they may take this out of context or they may spread my business around and I want this to be something private, Maybe you want to be the person to tell everyone that you're pregnant, but if you know that if you tell your mom, she's going to call up everybody and tell you before you even get to make an Instagram post or a Facebook post, you don't want it to be like that. So you are the type of person that knows a time and place, and okay, these type of people can accept me for who I am. And I feel like in the inside, it doesn't feel like you'll know, but you will literally just know when you're around those right people. You will know. Okay, it says the shapeshifter has a love of theater, games, and trickery. Its energy appears as one thing, only to be revealed as a more complex story below the surface. The shapeshifter is within all of us to some degree. It is the side of ourselves that is slippery, non-committal, and experimental, and longs to dismiss the rules. We need its energy to adapt to ever-changing landscapes of our existence. When the shapeshifter card appears, it is important to imagine that you are looking through life as a kaleidoscope rather than a single focused lens. At any moment at any moment the scene may shift, revealing a more enchanting vision than you could imagine. Be wary though, as the allure of the kaleidoscope can leave you exhausted and yearning for solid ground. Dancing long term with the shapeshifter requires a center pillar of integrity that links us back to our center. And it says, when light, vibrant, adaptive, humorous; when dark, people pleasing, and trickery. And it says here, go deeper, Cindy Sherman. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe we have to look into that. It says shapeshifter. It says the trickster, the formless. It says here, the ultimate shapeshifter works undercover in service of greater good. The dismissed shapeshifter can become a people pleaser. And it says the shapeshifter is related to the mask. Notice if these cards come up in one reading. If so, you are in the realm of heavy theater, illusion, and possibly deception. Okay, so we didn't get that card, but I just wanted to read everything that I saw here. So, just want to reiterate one thing for you to be ready for. Be ready to have to be every part of who you are, and do it fearlessly. Just do it fearlessly, because you're gonna have to be hardworking in September, but you're also gonna have to be laid back and learn to smile, even when pick yourself up again. You're gonna have to learn to be resilient, but you're also gonna have to learn to have agility. You're also gonna have to learn how to know when to slow down and to take your time. You're also going to know how to choose, when to choose love and when to stand your ground, when to be understanding and when to put those boundaries up. So you're going to have to learn balance. You're going to have to learn, in the justice cards here too, you're going to have to focus on balance, balancing both. And even with the full moon in Libra, there's so much balance here. You're going to have to learn how to balance, and you're going to be put to the test where you have to balance in September. So you're having to learn that right now. So from now, before you go into September, you are having to learn to be ready for situations that cause you to have balance, cause you to choose time and place, cause you to go inwards and kind of either kill them with kindness or put your foot down. You're going to have to learn to do it. And it seems like it's something that's hard, but just meditate more. Focus on what makes you feel happy. When something makes you feel uncomfortable, unpack that. Even if you got to type in your notes like, that made me feel weird because when I was little, this happened to me, and it's something traumatizing that you didn't even know existed. So you're going to have to go inwards when things come up and things make you feel intense. Kind of try to see where you can write down, okay, this made me extra pissed off. Why did it do that? Oh, because I've been doing the same thing every single day. And like, let's say at work you're the only person that fills up the copy paper, the copy paper, and you go to print out your project and only half of it ends up printing. And instead of being normal, being like normally how you'd be like, oh, I don't care, it's not a big deal, I can just reprint, I can just whatever. Whereas you're typically the person to do that, it might piss you off that day. And why? Because it was time for you to set up that boundary. So time and place, don't go cussing people out, but just go to your higher up and say, hey, I noticed I'm the only person on my floor that ever puts paper in the like the copy thing. Is there a way we can set up like a nightly task or end of shift task where, before people leave, they have to make sure that they're putting paper back in there. And if you're printing off 30, 40 pieces of paper, that you restock it. Can we make that a thing? And maybe your manager is like, yeah, you know what? That was something that I had an issue with before, I got to the, point in this job that I am now, to where I'm your supervisor. I dealt with that a lot when I was working, in the office. So yeah, I can make that a thing. And then that changes, and now everybody's doing it. And so that takes a heavy weight off of your shoulders because you stood up for yourself, but you did it the right way. And maybe your boss or whoever's in control will respect you for that. And because they respect you for that, you may be more considered for a promotion. You may be more considered to be, oh, a new department part in the department opens up. And because you had a backbone to stand up for yourself, that may cause you to get that promotion, or that may cause you for them to, let you sit in on a meeting, or maybe that opens their eyes to who you are as a person and what you will not stand for. And that since you have a backbone, you are ready to take on more in that workplace. But that is all I have for you, pile number one. This was a lengthy reading, but I feel like because we are setting ourselves up for success, it's going to be a lot. And some piles might not be as long as others, depending how deep I get into them, because sometimes they may be like, but I feel like this topic needed its time to be nurtured because you deserve that. And I do not mind pouring into you and helping you understand, what you are going through, and how to get out of that hole, because I've been there, and it's not somewhere you want to keep going down with. You're sinking down, you may feel like that sometimes. And it's not all the time you feel like you're sinking, but sometimes you do feel like you're sinking. And it's quicksand, and it's quick, and it takes you under, and you crawl yourself back out, and you have so much agility, like you're picking yourself back up again. But sometimes you might be walking right back into that sinkhole. And that is what you have to open your eyes to see. And especially when they said the kaleidoscope, girl, I told you, or guy, I told you to focus on kind of looking, like, stop like putting one set focus on how you're going to manifest. Just know it's going to come and let it go. But that's all I have for you, pile number one. If you would like to join my newly started Patreon, the link is going to be down in the description box below. So go ahead and join that. And also leave a comment down below. And if anything resonated with you, just let me know. You know what I mean? I would love to know. And as the month of August happens, I would love for you to keep, or sorry, September, we're in August, but as the month September happens, I would love for you to comment and let me know if you feel like, woo, thank you for preparing me for that, because that was a curveball, but because I was prepared for it, I took it with grace. That's what I want this reading to be for everyone listening. So thank you so much once again for listening to me ramble and talk and play with these cards, because it's something that I love to do. And thank you so much for even giving me your ears to listen to my advice. It genuinely means a lot, and I really wish for nothing but the best and love and opportunities and prosperities throughout the month of September, for the rest of this month, and for the rest of your life. So just thank you so much for lending your ear to hear my message and hear the universe's message and your guide's message and your higher self's messages come through me. I'm sorry, it was a mouthful, but my brain wanted to say it, my heart wanted to say it. I just had to get it out. I was kind of rushing it at the end, but you get exactly what I mean. And yeah. Hey guys, so welcome to pile number two's reading. I did have a certain amount of decks I wanted to try to get through, but I realized the video might be too lengthy, and I don't mind it, but I don't want you guys to be like, okay, I'm getting bored of this reading. I know that won't happen, but part of me is nervous about it. So there are some decks that I didn't include in pile one's reading, and I might end up going with a little bit of different decks for your reading. I feel like it'll make it just even more a little like special. Um, so the first deck I'm starting with is the Oracle, and this one is the Rose Bella Oracle deck. Let me shuffle her. I'm gonna try to get like 3 cards only. Okay. Okay, so the cards that I got was, and it's funny because it's like it's going up by numbers, if that makes sense. I'll read it to you. So the first card that you got is litigation. The second card is fire. The third card is beauty, and the fifth card is delay. And litigation is 33, fire is 37, beauty is 40, and delay is 51. So, what I'm feeling here, honestly, is that like for things to really, because when I think of fire, I think of passion. Like, and when I think of beauty, like, I think of the beauty of life, the beauty of like the reason why life is the way that it is. The flows of life, like the ups and downs, like, and I feel like within nature and the way that we live in this world, delays happen often. If you've ever been late to an appointment before, or you had plans that you had to keep putting off and stuff like that, sometimes it tends to anger us when things don't go exactly the way that we plan, or when things are stretched out for a long period of time. But when I see litigation, and like on this card, it has like some swords. I feel like with this, it's like a litigation. I don't know. I kind of see this as like law, like court type of thing, like balance, judgment, all that stuff. Some things are delayed, but for a reason. Like, it takes time to get the outcomes we need, especially when it comes to like court work, documents, all that. It takes a lot of time. Like, if you file something within the court system, it may take a while for it to fully close or fully even start, for them to even look through the paperwork and figure out what they can do to help you or like what you need in that moment. So, delays happen for a reason, and sometimes it upsets us when we're not able to immediately afford what we need. Or let's say for an example, you knew you needed to change your tire, but you put it off, you put it off, you put it off, you delayed it, and then something frustrating happens, your tire pops and you're on the way to work, and now you're upset because you feel like you should have just did it when you needed to do it. But, maybe you, you know, later on that week or something, you have something come up where you need to drive a far distance, and even if you wouldn't, how do I explain? Like, it's kind of like delays happen for a reason. So, maybe this is like worst case scenario, but since I'm seeing fire here, we're just gonna go with it. Let's say your job caught on fire, or like somewhere you were supposed to be at caught on fire, but you wasn't able to make it in time because of a flat tire or something happened. You know what I mean? That type of stuff happens and it feels really spooky, you know? If you feel like you're stuck or things are delayed and you're trying and you're trying and you're trying, and maybe you're trying spells and you're trying glamour magic and you're trying all of these things, you're following everything by the book, you're doing everything, you're doing the manifestations, you're turning the paper towards yourself whenever you're doing your like spells or whatever you're doing, and you're like, this stuff is not working. And it's because you keep looking at it. Like, that feeling when your screen won't load, so then you look away and you're like, maybe it'll load if I'm not looking at it. Sometimes you need to be like that when it comes to manifestations and things in your life. Focus more on the beauty of life, the beauty of yourself, as you are moving through these things that you're doing to manifest something for yourself, because they will come in at the right time and you cannot rush it. You have to let these roadblocks move. You have to let them move. And you can't stand over them and micromanage them, because that makes it feel worse. It makes it feel longer. Because sometimes we're not even waiting as long as we genuinely think we are. Sometimes it feels like it took a long time, but then once it comes to fruition, it's always like, oh, that wasn't even that long if you think about it. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like it was really long, but it actually wasn't, you know? So just take your time in realizing and understanding that there's a lot of things in this world that are worth the wait, especially in things like love, relationships, jobs. Sometimes those things are worth the wait, because if you were to jump straight into something, maybe you wouldn't have been mentally ready. Like, imagine you're somebody who doesn't really have a day routine, and you were to get a job before you work out the kinks of a routine, and everything falls apart, you're overworking yourself, things are too much. When things get like that, it doesn't feel good. It feels like you took on more than you could chew, and then what ends up happening is you it's kind of like you end up giving up, because you're like, this is more, I'm having imposter syndrome. So I think you should prepare yourself to kind of be in spaces that you never thought you would be, and mentally get yourself there in that way, and just prepare yourself for things to be delayed. But then also, as you're moving into September, look at your life and look up things that you need to do. If you know you need to get an oil change, if you can't afford to get an oil change, but you can afford to buy some oil and, look it up on TikTok, be careful. They'll get a really big pan because you don't want it to spill everywhere and fill up. But if you need to change your oil yourself, get out there and do it. Just kind of look around in your life and see what you've been putting on pause and try to handle those things or make time to handle those things as September goes on. Um, if you know you're supposed to be, getting a passport, that's me right now, low key. Supposed to be getting my passport, supposed to be getting my license, and I've been delaying it. I feel like when fall is coming, we really need to put I feel like it's like we're gonna be doing a lot of hard work for the rest of this year. Like a lot of putting belt to butt, like putting boots on the ground, and touching and feeling the world and just going and immersing ourselves in our experience and working so hard. And once that period is over for us, that's when we'll get our benefits. And I feel like that's for the collective, and I think that's for everyone. I think that's genuinely what the times are that we are in right now. Um, and yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and read the definition of these cards. I'm gonna start with litigation. Oops. It says here, disputes, conflicts, lawsuit, disagreements, struggle, separation, fight, divorce, legal proceedings, and struggle. The meaning of this card is one of the least favorable cards. Represents all kinds of clashes and collisions. This blade, governed by Mars, the Roman god of war, often appears when you find yourself trapped in conflicts with others. This may lead to a painful legal battle or, alternatively, complex disputes. It is a period where you need to endure and seek the right arguments to resolve the situation. Have patience with time, things will naturally improve. So here it says, in more of the reading here, it says, you're in the midst of doubt with your mind overloaded with thoughts and creating a complex situation. In such circumstances, it is important not to make any hasty decisions. People around you are sensing the tension and cold atmosphere due to your agitated emotions. However, there's a glimmer of hope. This tough situation will come to an end soon. Although it feels like a storm has hit you hard now, if you handle the situation flexibly, hope will soon emerge. So I think you need to kind of just see where things are not working and just know that things happen at the right time. Sometimes we tend to think that there's nothing out there for us, but there is. Here it says passion, or for fire, it says passion, opportunity, determination, conviction, possibility, confidence, and action power. For the meaning of the card, it says both of the cards in this deck, passion and then fire, they both represent passion, but they have slightly different essences. The passion card of Venus is associated with love, pleasure, and harmony, and symbolizes intense emotion, romantic charm, and desire for joy and fulfillment. On the other hand, the fire card of Mars embodies primitive action, energy, and the energy of change. It represents not only passion and ambition, but the potential for creativity and destructive passion. It says here, on the positive side, the fire card can represent courage, vitality, and bold action. It encourages the current to embrace their inner passion, follow their intuition, and pursue their desires confidently. However, If not properly managed, the energy of fire card can be excessive and destructive. It can warn against impulsive, aggressive, and reckless behavior. So just take your time. Like I said, things are delayed for a reason, and things will get better. And the next card we have is happiness, wonder, joy, beauty, appearance, and inner self, maturity, and perfection. It says this card signifies not only aesthetic beauty, but the cleanliness of in events, personality traits, and compatibility, similar to the completion of tasks and the nurturing qualities associated with the Empress. Okay, it says here. All right, I'm going to read here. If you desire a reunion, reaching out to a past lover may be worth a while. Ooh, be calm. Since they likely hold on to beautiful memories and positive emotions about you, the likelihood of a reunion is high. If you're already in a relationship and are married, you've likely found true love that's so cute. Your relationship is mature and likely to last long. You may even invoke envy from others, as resembling the dream image of a perfect couple. Your relationship is stable and a beautiful future, possibly including marriage. So that could be what litigation is, or like a law. It said it can be anticipated. Additionally, it's power. It's a powerful positive card that can counterbalance negative influences in a spread. Okay, so it feels like right now you're in like that state where it's like I'm aggressive, I'm mad. Like, if you're not a victim in the situation, right? It's okay to be like, you are not victimizing yourself by being upset about something. You know, if something's going wrong in your life or every turn, it's okay to be upset, but you have to remember to center yourself back down. And maybe you need to do some journaling. Maybe you need to look inwards a little bit more and just realize that, like, things are going to get better. It just takes time. You know, when things are delayed, there's a reason. And also, you could be delaying them by constantly being in that agitated state. Like, find the beauty in kind of what's going on. I know it's easier said than done, and some people are privileged enough to where their things that are having them in a stressed state might not be as bad as others. It might be better than others, but at the end of the day, we all still have our upset situations and situations that kind of make us feel bad or feel uncomfortable, and it's okay to sometimes sit in that energy. I think that if you get upset and you have the time to sit there and take a deep breath and meditate and sit there with it for just a little bit before you let it go. Before you let it go, just sit with it a little bit, and you'll find what's really like what you really need to work deep on before September. Because if you continue to be in that mindset, it will delay like, you have a positive outcome. You are gonna be okay, but you are delaying that for yourself by constantly sitting in that fire energy. Ground yourself more. Go with the flow a little more. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, maybe you're too much in the fire energy and then you're too much in your air energy, so you're like up in the air, you're kind of wherever the wind takes me. But ground yourself a little more. Do not let people with fiery energy push your energy, kind of magnetically pull your energy into that negative energy too. It's like when you're kind of up in the air with everything, and it's like wherever the wind takes you, it could take you to that negative place if you let it. But if you ground yourself, right, and you kind of flow with your emotions while kind of grounding yourself in that moment, it can really free you. It can free the control that this situation and people and things have on you. Um, and Gotta find delay now. Okay, delay. It says disappointment, destruction, sluggishness, delay, powerlessness, laziness, lingering regret, and standing still. The meaning of this card. You've worked hard, but you still feel inadequate and unsatisfied. Lingering with regret. Perhaps if you try a little harder, things will turn out better. Maybe if you do a little better, your relationships will improve. These thoughts leave you in a state of indecision and frustration. However, the delay card says that everything has already come to an end. The situation cannot get any better than it is now, and it's time to let go of regrets and move on. It says there's something in you that keeps you stagnant, unable to progress beyond the current state. You're not particularly satisfied with the present situation, but you don't see any clear way forward, leaving you in dilemma. In a romantic relationship, it could indicate that a relationship has long lost its love but continues to exist out of habit or sense of duty, or perhaps hanging on due to a period of stagnation where both parties have forgotten each other's value. Alternatively, one party may be silently hoping the other one initiates a breakup conversation, waiting for the right moment to bring it up. So this goes back to like litigation, because it said something about divorce. I think that you may be waiting for passion to arise, and then also you may be like looking towards the past, especially if this has something to do with love. I might just go into the love oracle deck real quick, because it seems like it's a lot about relationships. And this is those cute little heart cards, but I feel like you have I feel like you know when you're done, you know what I'm saying? And if you delay being free long enough, you will break, and you don't want to be one of those people that's kind of just stuck in the shell of yourself, kind of, because you didn't. And then also, if that person, like, if this is really a love thing, if you guys talk about it, you may not really lose that person, because if they feel that same way, and you can say, I miss how we were, I want our fire back, and I want our passion back. And maybe it is like buying something, a lingerie, or setting the mood, or making time to really take your time with each other in that, passionate manner. And maybe it will drive you guys closer because you're open about how you feel. So let's see what cards we get. I kind of just want to get one real quick, or three comes out. It says balance. Love is not always about agreeing just for the sake of it. A great relationship is one that supports and challenges. It says here, friendships. Nurture the bond of friendships within your relationships, and your love life will dramatically improve. It says here, criticizing another will only lead to further unhappiness. Love and accept each other as you are in your relationship will magically transform. So, it's basically saying, like, find that relationship. Find the love in that relationship. Find the friendship in that relationship. And realize that, especially if you're married, people always say that, like, your husband or your wife or your significant other is your partner is somebody who's supposed to be your best friend. And maybe you're not married yet, but maybe that's something you want to see for you in a relationship, but something isn't working. You're not really seeing eye to eye. The more you are honest about how things are making you feel, how someone is making you feel, and if you feel more alone, or if that, the person you're with is a workaholic, and it's to the point where you feel like the love and the passion is dying, maybe that person is just working so hard to provide for you that they didn't realize that they were neglecting you. And if you continue to like delay that conversation that you need to have, it may result in the relationship breaking up even when it didn't have to. So just find the time to kind of sit down and have that conversation and just say, like, hey, we haven't had a date night in a billion years. And at the bottom of the deck, I kind of want to read this. It says, trust. Transformation occurs through acceptance. Once you accept the current situation, it will automatically transform. So I believe that whatever your situation is right now with love, relationships, whatever, you have to be okay with admitting to yourself, like, maybe I am holding on for dear life because I don't want to lose this person, but I might lose them anyways because we're not, he may grow tired, or she may go, or they may grow tired of this relationship limbo that you're in, instead of just having that conversation. Because I think it's a real love, and if it is a real love, if it is a true love, things will work out. And if it is not that, it will open up the door for real love to come through. And that's something that you have to always remember, is that, like, love is great, but both people should enjoy themselves. It shouldn't be one person's cup being filled more than the other, and it shouldn't be like no one's cups are being full at all. So we're going to go straight into the Rider-Waite deck. So just prepare yourself for that type of conversation and get yourself together. Like, write down in your notes, maybe, or maybe if you have a private journal, just kind of write down, like, if something happens and you feel like an uncomfortable feeling, or you feel like, I wish he would have hugged me today, you can write down, like, I realize that you don't hug me anymore, or realize that you don't turn on the coffee pot for me anymore before you leave for work, and it makes me feel sad, and is there a reason why you don't feel like you want to do that for me anymore? Or I noticed that, we don't plan date night as much anymore, and then when we are on our date night, we kind of just have these surface level conversations, and I miss when we had intellectual conversations. Kind of write down your letter to your lover, as if, not that you were going to break up, but as if you could talk to them freely about everything that bothers you. And then you can leave that there. And then, as over the course of this 2-week period, just kind of read over it again and again and again, and just keep reading over it and editing it and tweaking it to where eventually it can become something that you tell this person face to face. Like, it can become something that you're like, all right, I can tell him these things now, or I can tell her these things. It's not sugar coated, but it's like to the point, it's concise, and it's exactly how I feel. And as you find yourself, creating that speech for yourself, you'll realize, like, how much you may want to fight for love. And maybe when you give those words to your lover, they'll come to more of a conclusion on how they really feel, and yeah. So let's get into your tarot. So you have the Queen of Swords. We have the Ten of Wands. Right. We have the Ace of Cups, which is a good card to get. We have the King of Pentacles. And I think I'm going to take one more. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles. So it says here, for the Queen of Swords, it says unbiased judgment, independent, clear boundaries, direct communication, clear-minded, and perceptive. Okay, and underneath the deck is the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, and it says self-development, perfectionism, misdirect activity, no passion, uninspired, and not motivated. So I just wanted to bring that up too. But then for your actual cards, you have the Ten of Wands, which is burden, extra responsibilities, hard work, and completion. Contemplation. Yes, period. And then we have Ace of Cups, which is love, compassion, creativity, new feelings, spiritual intuition, new baby, proposal, and marriage. And then we have the King of Pentacles, which is wealth, business, leadership, security, discipline, abundance, prosperity, and generosity. We have the Ten of Pentacles with wealth, financial security, family, long-term success, and contribution. Sorry, I'm gonna clear my throat a little bit. Let me grab some water. Ooh. So basically, what I want to say is that having the Ace of Cups come out and then it be followed by the King of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles tells me that, like, if sometimes it feels like when we are having like a tower moment or a death card moment, right? Every time you think of things like that, you think of the worst. Like, you think of like it's gonna end. Like, if I bring up this conversation where we talk about these things, or I, and even if it's not about love, I know it's so love focused, and I didn't think that was gonna happen. But maybe if it even is just like a workplace type of thing, or like your roommates, or just relationships and friendships, like sometimes it's not gonna. It could renew things, and litigation could also be like in marriage and coming out multiple times, families, long-term success. And I think what could happen is it could be a renewal. And if you're someone who's been married for a while, what could end up happening to you actually is a vow renewal, or renew the rings, or maybe you guys talk for so long and you guys set a day like, hey, this is a day I want to sit down and I want to talk with you about everything, because I know that you feel it too, that we're not as close as we used to, and I don't want to put that burden on you with feeling like upset at me for feeling like we need to talk, you know but I want to sit down with you, and I want to talk with you. I do, because I love you, and I feel like our relationship and our connection, our marriage and our friendship is something worth fighting for. And I feel like I don't want us to feel like we want to walk away without sitting and talking. And maybe you guys end up talking for hours and hours, and you bring up memories and you remember things. And I know it sounds like a love movie or a love story, but these cards are good. They're a little rocky, but they're good. And I think the more you delay it, it's gonna be a good outcome, no matter what. But the more you delay it, the harder it is for you in the present moment. The future you's happy, but the current you is going through such a hard time because you're not initiating something that's going to bring you to the future. It's like sitting in the car knowing that you're supposed to be somewhere fun, but not starting the car, not driving, not going there. So it's like, how are you going to have fun anytime soon if you don't start that car up? Like, if you wait 2 hours to go, then it's like you prolong the time to have fun, you know? With burdens, it may feel like you're carrying the weight of the relationship. So if you're constantly the one who's planning the dates, if you're doing the housework, if you are, making lunch, if you're still doing all of these things, but this person in your relationship is not holding their end of the bargain, and you're doing everything, and you feel like you're the person initiating the passionate moments, you're the one that's initiating conversations, you're the one that's complimenting, you're the one that's, if you feel like that's you right now, you need to do two things. You need to sit down and you need to reevaluate the situation. Look at it from that person's perspective and really meditate on that person's perspective. This person, especially if they're friends, family, if it's not a relationship thing and maybe it's a job thing, like you've been at this job for a very, very long time. Sit there and think about how hard your coworkers work, and if your coworkers work as hard as you do. Like, sit there and think about it. Think about all the coworkers that you could think of that work as hard as you do. And there probably are some people that do. And then also, there probably are some things that your significant other is still doing for you that you don't even realize that they're still doing. Like, you don't even realize, or maybe, like, for an example, right? Maybe you've taken on so much of this workload when you could have just asked for help. And having that mindset of, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done right, is not a good mindset to ever have as a person, because it's one of those things where it's like, now you're forcing yourself to work 10 times harder. Share the workload, you know? You never know, because what if that person does want to help you with groceries? And maybe he works so hard, I want to let him keep taking his nap while I carry in all the groceries and we live on the fourth floor. Like, no, Don't do that. Don't do that. Because if there was a time where this person was working the same job, helping you with those things, they could do it right now today. And there are 24 hours in a day. This person can set aside 10 minutes to come help you with groceries, come help you with dinner. They can set aside time to put away their own dish. They can set away time to come home and do the dishwasher, especially if you're working at the same time as they are or you're working too. This person can set aside time to do the laundry and fold it and take it out the dryer and switch the damn laundry. You need to realize when you're working too hard. If everybody else is getting paid the same amount as you at the job and they're all expected to do the same things, right? Why are you working 100% and everybody else is working 75%, or they're not working good enough? You need to ask for help. Hey, they're asking me to do this, but I'm already working on this project. What projects are you working on? Oh, I'm not currently working on any projects. Do you know if you can ask them if you can take it over? Because I have 3 projects right now. Oh my God, like, no, me and Lisa they haven't given us anything. They said that they were letting you take them over. Yeah, but it's a lot for me. So, I'm thinking about maybe asking them to disperse the workload. Okay, so then they go to the boss and they're like, hey, I want to take over this project. That she's fine with it. And now you have one project to focus on for the next week, and they also have something to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, ask for help. Like, know when it's time to allow other people to help you. And then for the King of Pentacles and the wealth and all that stuff, I think it has a lot to do with like why do you log yourself out of heaven? Like why are you focusing what life is not always meant to be so hard. There's meant to be good things that's happening in life. And the harder you are in these situations, the harder it weighs on you, the more it hurts, the more your back hurts, the more. If you know that to get better shoes would help your back when you're at your job, why are you still not buying them? But you're buying something else. Like, why are you doing that? And then you're buying like crazy stuff off of Temu. I do it too. TikTok shop. Girl, buy them new work shoes. Or like, girl, do what you're supposed to do. Why are you delaying yourself? Why are you making things harder for you? If you know that, like, meal prepping would be better for you, set aside that time to literally meal prep to free up that time. Literally, to free up that time and like find a way to structure yourself, because with King of Pentacles, that's someone who is a leader. That is someone who is secure in who they are, and you have your head held high. You shouldn't be looking down like this Wands card at all of these burdens and carrying them when you can still carry those things, but you can carry them with this Queen of Swords and this King of Pentacles energy. You can carry it with your head held high. You can carry it with grace. You can. And you can also create better systems for yourself so those burdens don't hurt as much when you lay down at night. If you are having constant back pain and you have Groupon, go see if they have a Groupon deal that you can drive to. And even if it's driving 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, girl, go get that back cracked. And I'm not playing. Even if that means in a different way. You know what I'm saying about cracking that back? You know? If it has something to do with love, feelings, and things like that. Like, I haven't been in the dating world in a while, but I want to meet somebody, but I'm nervous and I work too much. Clear that schedule, honey. Like, figure out something, figure out something that you can do that pleases you. If you haven't hung out with your friends in a very long time and you're scared to go hang out with them, I think that you definitely should, especially with the beauty card being like past relationships will go good. If you have a best friend that you haven't spoken to in like 4 or 5 months, girl, go ahead and text her and say like, hey, I was going through this, I've been working so hard, like, I know you know how much I care about you as a person and I thought about you a lot, but I've been so depressed and overloaded with work that I haven't even felt good about my own self. If this is your best friend, they will love and accept you, and I bet you they'll message you back right away and just say like, hey girl, I knew you were going through something, but I wanted to give you space, and yes, let's plan something, just even if it's you just coming over on the couch. You can even initiate that too. Come over on the couch, we'll watch something. We'll make some food and something. It may be awkward at first, but within an hour or two, you'll be laughing. So just remember that, like, to get to this long-term success, you have to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And when to walk away. Okay? You need to know when enough is enough. You need to know when things are too hard for you to deal with. You need to know when you're taking on too much. You need to know when it's time to change. Okay? Because the more you delay that change, the harder it is for you. It's going to be genuinely hard if you keep allowing yourself to be stuck there. I think I'm going to go with the moon card. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm going to go with the moon cards. I was going to do Egger Island Bow deck, but I feel like I'm going to do the moon. Let's lock in. Kind of want to get two here. Alright, so the underneath the deck is bring love into the situation. New moon in Aquarius is the bottom of the deck, and that is perfect for what you're going through right now. It says step out of your comfort zone, which is the north node, and I think the last pile, I'm pretty sure it was south node. So step out of their comfort zone. And then it says the end of a tough cycle approaches, and it's full moon in a Capricorn. So you you are definitely gonna be out of that situation soon. It takes time, and I think in September you're definitely gonna be out of that situation, and it's gonna end. And so as we prepare ourselves, and as you prepare yourselves, yeah, I want to say yourselves because it's multiple people. The more you guys prepare yourselves for the ending of this cycle, and you find like that inner balance within the situation, and just tap more into that higher self, work on your root and sacral chakra more. And I think even a little bit work on your accepting your intuition when something doesn't feel right, or like when you feel like, okay, that was crossing my boundary, accept that and embrace that. And if people don't like that you are setting a boundary and they did something to hurt you, and you do not, if someone is mad at you for setting a boundary, they're not someone you should have in your life. If you don't like it when someone jokes a certain way about you, treats you like certain way, if they do not accept that and they want to continue to make you feel less than, they're not someone you should have in your life, first of all. But it's time for you to set those boundaries, and in September, whether it's the beginning of September or the middle of September, the cycle will be completed and you're going to feel a lot lighter. Just prepare yourself for that cycle ending. And this doesn't mean like, oh my God, I gotta put some money in a savings account, I gotta do this. No, don't do too much, but like slowly acquire what you need, slowly acquire what you need. If it's like, if you are tired of your job and you're tired of being treated like you're not good enough, and you want to leave this job and it's time for you to quit, and you don't want to quit, right? What you can do, and you feel like you're overworking yourself and you're working too hard at a job that doesn't deserve you, work towards some certifications or like some things to get you a new job. Go and sit down and rework your resume, and look on Indeed, look up on job list, and girl, dust off that diploma, like, and really, you know, get some outfits to interview. Definitely get some outfits, interviewing outfits. If it's been a while since you've had a job interview, maybe it's been like around 10 years, because, we have the 10 of Wands and then the 10 of Cups. So maybe it's been about 10 years since you've been, 10 to 11 years around that time, or maybe it's only been a year, but you're fed up. But it's been a while. You need to lock in and buy some new interview clothes and just kind of, you know, set up some interviews on days you're off, or request a day off or something like that, and go on these interviews and just see what happens. Because I think you'll end up landing that wealthy, because two cards of wealth are here, both that wealthy position, and you will end up being rewarded for your initiative to leave. And those people at that job, they will realize how hardworking you were when you leave, and they will feel it, but you don't have to be there to see them feel it. You don't. And sometimes in the inside, we want to be able to see it, and I think that's where that fire comes in. You might be a fire sign, so you're like, I want to see them burn. And it's like, girl, you're sitting there watching them burn, and next thing you know, you're burning with them, and you don't want that. You don't want that. So get yourself out of the situation, and then you'll still have coworkers and friends that gonna be like, girl, you want to get some drinks? I just quit too. And then they tell you all the tea about what happened right after you left. So sometimes it's drama llama. Sometimes we love it, but sometimes you gotta walk away and let that information come back to you. But like I said here, just get yourself ready. Get that resume together. Go on Indeed. Indeed Learning has so many little courses and certificates you can add to your Indeed profile. When my friend was going through something with her job, I was like, well, if you're doing your visual work, just begin to take photos of your hard work, and slowly build your portfolio and post it on LinkedIn, and follow some people from your company, other companies nearby, and stuff like that with your Indeed, and just get your resume together, get your stuff together, because as you do that, you will find more strength to leave, and then people will see you for what you are, and people will end up reaching out to you. And I hope and I pray that it continues to go good, because it's going really good for her, and I'm very, very happy for her, and I love her a lot, like dearly. And sometimes you stay because you feel bad, and jobs, and it's a lot, you know what I'm saying? A lot goes on in life, but at the same time, you have to know when to get yourself together to make a change. Change is definitely coming. A cycle is definitely ending. Get yourself together. Get yourself ready to switch a job. Get yourself together to go back to school. Get yourself together to, take that last class you need for your bachelor's. Like, you need to just go and get yourself together, because, prepare yourself for that, because in September, you're definitely going to have to make a choice. Or else the choice will be made for you. And, or like, say you go to work and you're like, damn, I need to quit. And then something crazy happens and you quit on the spot, when you could have put in your 2 weeks, and left with a good conscience. But now you're pushed to just quit immediately. You know what I mean? Or something happens where you get treated negatively in that moment, and it's like, damn it, I should have just jumped ship when I could, but I held on for so long that I ended up kind of burning people. Okay. Step out of your comfort zone. There's a strong feeling when you get this card that it's time to leave the past behind somehow, because you're headed in the right direction. If you want to be happy and fulfilled, you need to get going towards the thing that scares you with purpose. This card is about living your life's purpose, which is possibly what you've asked about. It is urging you to dare to do something different in your life, in direction, to take action. So are you willing to follow through and lead the life that you incarnated to live? If you find the courage to make the leap, there's a good chance you'll come back and ask yourself, why did I wait so long? It said, attuned to the moon. I know I'm headed in the right direction. Additional meanings for this card. You are headed for something which feels like destiny. You need to face a fear and get over it. Time to stop obsessing about someone or something. Stand on your own 2 feet. You've got this. It says the teaching. The North Node is where the moon crosses the ecliptic going north. It is a karmic point, and on the horoscope chart, it shows us what we need to do and where we need to go with our lives to find satisfaction, fulfillment, and happiness. The North Node is the karmic astrological point that reminds us the phrase Andre Gide, that in order to discover new oceans, we have to be prepared to lose sight of the shore. So definitely check your North Node and see what zodiac it's in, and do a little reading on it, even if you have to kind of look up a TikTok or something and see what they say about whatever sign you have in the North Node. Full moon in Capricorn. How hard are you willing to work for what you want? This card reminds you that effort is required. Work issues may be about to come to a head when this card comes up. If you are wondering if you should stay in this job or leave, this is a strong sign to make an exit. The end of a tough time is forecast. This card also asks you to consider how ambitious you are and whether you are prepared to pull out all the stops to make your professional dreams come true without being ruthless. With a love question, this card can be a call to face reality. Whatever situation you're asking about, making a plan will help. If your personal life is troubled, prioritize it more. Attune to the moon. Release control and trust the universe. Additional meanings for this card. A professional project may be ending now. Admit if you've been overly hard-headed or hard-nosed. Find a balance between your personal and private lives. It says it's time to stop fearing the worst. Full moon in Capricorn has a very strong work ethic and energy, and will more than likely come up if you're asking about a professional question. If your question is more about another matter, it will serve as a much needed reminder to move through any feelings of hopelessness you may be feeling about your situation. Oh my god, choking up so bad. All right, sorry, I had to cough. It says here, it will serve as a much needed reminder to move through the feeling of hopelessness you may be feeling about your situation. And this applies no matter when you draw the card. Making a plan is a far better use of your time. Yeah, so that's exactly what I was saying. Just remember that, you do have a choice in this life, and you should be making sure that you're serving yourself in these moments where you tend to put people above yourself. Because at the end of the day, it does not help you. It doesn't feel good, and it doesn't work, bro. It doesn't work. When you're setting yourself up to put everybody else before yourself or work before yourself, and yes, you worked so hard to prove to everybody that you're good at your job, right? But it's at a job where no one appreciates you. So what was the point? They're not going to give you a prize. They're not going to give you a high five. They're not going to make you feel good. They're not going to praise you. You're going to get nothing back, because that's what you always get when you work hard, right? So if you're staying at a place where no one celebrates you, but you're working the hardest out of everybody, what does that do to help you? Nothing, because they're never going to see the value in you. And you could slack off, but then they're going to be like, this is not like you, and now you're going to get a talk. So what point and when does it become the turning point? When are you going to let go of it? Because letting go and moving on is not like giving up. Because if you were giving up, you would just quit a job and do nothing. But to leave a job that is not serving you, it's like one of those things where it's like when you put in your letter of resignation, you can just say, I work really hard here and I prove myself here, and I feel like I would be better off doing other business ventures and going for something else than rather than staying here where I don't feel like I'm appreciated. I work hard and I feel like I don't have that much to show for it. I've been here for 10 years. I've been here for a certain amount of years, and got a promotion, I've got a raise. Instead, people are getting raises and stuff, and I have been working hard, and I feel like it's just time for me to let go of this contract and this relationship and this job. Like this job, and they may beg for you back. They may be like, I want to give you a promotion, please. But sometimes you got to out with the old and in with the new. Sometimes you got to go, like, you built so much skills at this job. Like you've built up so much hard work, like skills, and like you've done hard labor at this job. You've done so much. You've learned so much, girl. Take that knowledge with you, or boy or they. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, I always say girl. I even call my man girl, so sorry. But like you have built up so much skill. You have gained so much resilience. You have gained so much agility. You have gained so much from this time at this job and in this relationship as well. You've gained so much wisdom. You've gained so much, but it's time for you to let it go. Like, it's time for you to apply all this goodness and skills that you learned at a job where it is a clean slate. They only know you as you. And once you go there and you show, like, they will be probably mortified if they knew how hard you were working at this other job. They'd be like, girl, that's not. And that's what happened to my friend. She was overworking herself really hard at a job. And then she went to another job where she's full time. They're like, they had you being the only person taking care of this stuff. Like, that's crazy. We would never do that to you. And we are so sorry that ever happened to you. Like, genuinely. And, you know, she felt like, wow, this team is so kind and so nice. This is what I needed. Imagine if she kept staying there till they gave her the raise. Sometimes you have to realize that it's time to leave those people and those things in the past and allow yourself to experience better, because you're not going to experience better with people who have the habit of treating you terribly. If they give you that position, that promotion, and they give you that raise, they're still going to expect you to work harder than everyone else and take on everyone else's workload. So then what's the difference? What's the difference? You're going to be better than somebody. You're going to be the best at a job where no one holds their weight. You're going to be the best for a job where you have to put in your 2 weeks to get recognized. That's not worth it. That's so not worth it. Even if there's things that are happening behind the scenes, girl, you have got to just let them people see how much you meant to the team, and let them realize that. You don't have to be there while they realize that. Okay, and the wild archetype that you got is the cosmic, or yeah, the comet. The comet. Yeah, that's what it is. The comet. Is that a cat on there? That is so stinking cute. Do you have an orange cat? Because it has got a little rainbow. That is so stinking cute. This is adorable. You'll see it in the final, you should see it now, actually. I think I should have added, what all of the cards look like. I'm trying to work on how to display that for you guys, like while I'm giving the reading, but I don't have a camera right now to like fully film like while I'm shuffling, so and while I'm like pulling cards. So right now it's just voice, and then I will display it for you guys in a better way. But right now we're gonna do cosmic. Just gonna find here where it is. Because sometimes it feels like your like life will give you things back to back that are like really freaking bad, and it will make you feel like, is this all I'm worth? Like, is this all I was meant to experience? And I promise you, we're not meant to experience terrible things for the rest of our lives. Like, they're really not. So sometimes it can make you feel like, damn, when is shit gonna get better? Like, when is it gonna get better? You know? And it is gonna get better. Just remember, like, keep trucking, keep trucking. And you never know, you might be, when you leave that job, you might inspire the people who are left there to kind of work harder, but then you will, maybe they'll get in trouble because the corporate people will realize things are not getting done on time, and you also quit at the same time. So you never know, like, you never know what you could start. You could also start like the other people who work as hard as you. It could cause one of those people to get a raise, and maybe they've only been there for a few years, and so it's good for them, and maybe when they're in that higher position, they will, tell people, hey, we're not going to do this stuff no more where people are slacking. You never know what happens. But since you got the comment, it's the Joker, the Clown, and the Fool. It says the comet carries a remedy for all that is owls. Mm? Oh wait, you guys, I really can't see. I'm one of those people that literally have to hold the phone close to their face when they don't have their glasses on. The comet carries a remedy for all that owls or fails, all that owls this world. Admit the deepest pain and suffering. Amid the deepest pain and suffering, there is always the potential to lift up and out of the darkness through laughter. Though dismissed by some as low brow or unsophisticated, this archetype actually has highly advanced mind. Some may use the word genius, as humor requires one to see the situation from afar rather than be swept up by the drama. The comet sees and accepts the messiness of life, using its materials to be mixed and shaped into a potion to soothe the stressed and serious mind. They literally lighten us up. Thus, within the comet is usually the sage or the magician, healing, working healing magic upon any audience who will lend an ear. The comet may be the archetype that heals the deep division in our world, one pun at a time. And it says, when light, hilarious, ingenious, spirited, and easygoing. When dark, sarcastic, harsh, brooding, and drunk. Go deeper. It says images of laughing Buddha, stand up, or improv comedy. So maybe that's something that you like to do. And if you're really in this moment where you really just need to laugh, especially with the whole relationship thing. Maybe you need to do like a stand-up comedy, or like go see a comedy with your significant other that you want to rekindle something with, or maybe your friend that's really really funny, you haven't seen them in a while, just link up with them and have a fun time. Just remember, like, there is so much strength in learning to laugh when when things go wrong, because as someone who's went through a lot of trials and tribulations throughout her life ever since she was young, my family has had to learn to laugh in some of the most worst situations to get us to go through it. And not in a way that's like, oh, that's a coping mechanism, that's bad, but more of a, like, you can't change nothing about, sometimes, like, you can't change anything in that exact moment. Sometimes it's like, this is something that has to be changed over the course of my next paycheck or the next thing that happens. And so it's like, sometimes you have to learn to laugh, and smile, and remind yourself that, like, never give up, okay? Um, It says the comic has plenty of shade to throw on others, and it can fall into shadow at the drop of a hat. Beware of their sharp claws. And then it says here, joy, jokes, and smiles are the sign of a happy heart. Be wary of spiritual practices and teachers who leave the comment by the wayside. So, um, before I end this reading, or in your pile, um, I am going to ramble for just a few more minutes. I want to just say that, you have the power of being someone so strong, and someone who stands in their power even when some people wouldn't. And you have that in you, and you are that person. Sometimes we never realize how strong we really are until you sit there and you think about the fact that it's like, I'm a people pleaser, or I'm taking on everyone's workload. There are people who could never do that. There are people who could never work hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, being a people pleaser obviously is not a good thing, and doing things to please others and help others and leaving yourself with nothing is not good. But if you're stressed out and you still pick yourself up to take on somebody else's workload, you're very strong. But that strong energy and that strong push and that workaholicness is working for the wrong things. And maybe you need to get a job that allows you to do that while also working on your own business ventures and putting that hard work and, like, into making your own business. Get that business, American Express, girl. Like, start that channel, open up that boutique. If you have a, like, cosmetology license, or maybe you want to do nails and you're really good already, but it's something you want to do. If you want to do hair and that's something that you want to do, or if you are someone who wants to do HVAC, or you want to do engineering, or you're someone who loves tech and you want to do, cybersecurity, like, look into those things and get yourself ready while you're still working at that job. That way, when you leave, you can do other things. And with, like electricians and with nail techs and, hairdressers and stuff, you can open your own salon. You can have your own practice for those things, and you can do them a lot quicker than things like psychology and stuff. So, you can have your own business if you want to, and you could create your own business easily. And there's enough room for anyone to sell anything and to become popular. There are so many brands that are like, and companies that are coming out every day with things that already exist, but the fact that it's their own flair and it is unique to them, that is what makes people buy them. Like, there's a lot of, like, hoodies out there and crew necks that exist, but when I think it's called Park, came out, I see that hoodie so much in my day-to-day life. People love that hoodie, and it's like I'm pretty sure it's like $100+. I think it's like $120, and people love it and they buy it, and that person, that content creator, has created a crazy business for themselves when people could really just go buy from aloe. But they like what she made because she made it a certain way. Same thing with like Palm Puff, Pink Palm Puff, I think is what it's called. That is a $78 hoodie, but people love the flare. They love what she did with it. You know what I'm saying? The same thing with like skincare brands and hair care brands and all. There's so many hair care brands like that are out already. But then there's people that come out with things and they are innovative and they work for different people and they shine light on people that people often forget about, you know? Like we often see a lot of brands for hair and for skin. We see a lot of skincare brands that are for people who have, really dry skin or that have acne. And maybe we don't have enough brands that target melasma, or we don't have a lot of brands that target like things like blackheads or like there's got to be something about you that is different than other people. And maybe you need to shine the light on that in your business ventures. You know, maybe there's not a lot of companies that provide support in ways that you can. Maybe you could go into HR and get, and create something bigger than you to free people. Um, but I say all of this rambling to say that you have to realize that you can contribute to this world, and by doing that, it frees you. It really does. And if the relationship part of this reading really is something that you want to focus on more, just remember that you, the person that you're with or were with, or in general, whatever your friends, people, relationships, people wanted you around because they loved who you are and who you were, who you are, and who you are going to become. People, no one, no one can truly explain how much they love someone because it's really hard to put those type of things in words. But there's a reason why people had you in their lives. Even if it was for a short period of time, even if it was when you were younger, there is a reason. And remember that you are that person. And so you may feel like this, oh, I'm married. You know what I'm saying? And it's been 10 years, like, and I feel like my lover is not as giving me as much attention as they were before. Remember who you were before and remember who you are. Remember you're worthy of so much love. And who you are, people should love you authentically and unconditionally. And that is what you deserve. And if that is not what is happening, they need to either fix it or they need to get lost. And you need your emperor or empress to come through and show you how that really feels, because that is who you are. Now, I'm not saying do anything too crazy, but I'm just saying you are like hot shit and you always were and you always will be. And so you need to remember that's who you are. Like, do not let the world, these jobs, these people make you forget who you are, because you are someone who is strong and is worthy of everything that this world has to offer. You just have to redirect all this energy and this hard work into things that serve you too. But that is all I have for you, my darling. Thank you so much for allowing me to read these cards for you and allowing me to talk your ear off. If you stayed this long, it really means a lot to me that you listened to me ramble and you allowed me to give you a little advice about your life and how to prepare yourself for, what's going to happen. I truly love the fact that you allowed me to have a glimpse of your world and give you some type of guidance. And I hope you're able to come back to this video and just let me know what things resonated with you, or like what things you were happy that you were prepared for because of this reading. Because I would love to read those comments, especially as someone who doesn't have as many viewers and people. It allows me to kind of connect a little bit easier with, the people who do comment and will comment. But I really am grateful that I was able to sit here and have this conversation and be able to talk about this. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. I will be starting a Patreon soon. The link might be down below, where maybe I can take a little cute suggestions and stuff like that. And hopefully, if that's something that you'll enjoy, please do not forget to subscribe and like. And I hope that you will join this journey with my channel and with my, tarot reading, career. I don't know. But thank you. Hey guys, and welcome to your pile number 3. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just finished up a pile number 2. So my voice is a little hoarse right now. I drank some water, but it doesn't seem like she's working. But we're gonna lock in on this, and we're gonna get some good messages. In the last pile, I did not. There was a deck I didn't use for them. I think it was the Karma one. Yeah, because I used the Karma in the first one, and I used the Love deck in theirs. So I'm kind of just going with the flow of the reading, kind of. I also have like an Angel deck I could look at. I have a Yoga deck I could look at. I haven't used the Edgar Allan Poe yet, and maybe I'll use the Edgar Allan Poe for my tarot, but I've been using right now. So maybe we'll use that. We'll see what is set up by the Oracle cards. I'm hoping to get 3, but I keep pulling 4 cards. So let's just see. Okay, let's get into this pile number 3. We need to prepare for September. Okay. We have success. Oh my gosh, period. I almost said queen, but like, you already know what I mean. Have richness. And fate. And plan at the bottom of the deck. So, I mean, that was 3 cards. So we're gonna go with the 3. Period. Prepare to win. It's kind of crazy. I love that, though. I love that. Because it's like, it's really success, richness, and fate. So prepare for that. Maybe I would say you have to prepare for the envy that could possibly go along with that. I think so. I don't want to say the word envy, but like prepare to kind of see what it's gonna be like for you if you. I'm just kind of playing with the cards because for some reason maybe I want to put the 4th one. They gave me a bunch, so maybe they're telling me like, girl, be calm. But listen, your success is fated. It's gonna happen whether you like it or not. So you have to lock in on yourself, lock in on it. And I think one thing you could do, because I've done this before too, if you have your own tarot cards, this would make it better. But there was this tarot spread I saw on TikTok that was like, what would you do if you, or how would you act, or what would you do if you had all the money that you wanted, or you were successful? It's something like that. Maybe I can leave a link to it if I can find it, because it's really old. But when I did it, I was like, ooh, it was like saying that I would hoard my money because I'm not used to having it. So, or I would spend it a lot or something like that. Like, I'd be like, okay, I need to do this, do it. And let's take our time. Like, you need to plan for this, like, be ready for whatever success is going to come in, because it's meant to be there. You're meant to experience it, and you're meant to have it. Um, and yeah, you are. And I think as well, you have to look up some budgeting stuff. Like, once if you're starting a business, or if you started a business, right? And I'm just going to use a business as an example. Go ahead and set up a business bank account, or a business credit card, or a business account. So, like, say for example, you are deciding to make money through YouTube, or only YouTube, or something like that. I don't know. And, or your TikTok shop. You're doing a TikTok shop thing, or something like that. Or, like, for example, me, I'm starting my Patreon. What you're gonna do is, and I believe that PayPal has debit cards, by the way. So there's that. But if you have a second bank account, that's good. If you don't, get one. It's very easy to open one. I think you can open one with like a regular checking bank account. You can also open up a savings account within these as well. You can just go online and apply for like a Capital One bank account and card, or you can do Discover. Discover is really easy to apply for. I'm not too familiar with Cash App. I know that Chime is a thing. You could do Chime, but I would say the ones I trust the most, and that are pretty easy to do, that are like kind of online banking. Because PNC, I think you have to go inside to open an account. So you could do like Capital One real quick and Discover. And with that part being said, if you open up a separate account and have all of the money that you are making from your business enter that account, when you have to do like a taxes or something, I think it makes it easier for them to like know your profit and how much you made. And then if you are like having expenses, you can also see your expenses as well, like what you're spending from, if that makes sense. So just come up with a little business plan that will make it so that it's easier once the success rolls in from your business, because maybe you've been putting in time, you've been you've been editing it, you've been setting it up, and now you're going for it. Just prepare for it to blow up. Like, prepare for your job to give you that promotion, and prepare to like be rich. There is this girl on YouTube. I'm gonna link her stuff. I've been obsessed with her stuff. She talks a lot about like retiring early, all that craziness. I feel like it's real, definitely, but as somebody who grew up in a kind of lower income, life as a child, it's kind of hard to push past that sometimes, but you've got it and you can do it. I think here, what you can do is you can look through her budgeting. She does budget this month with me, or like what type of budgeting system you should use, and how I budget this, how I budget that, what are my cards I use. She has like a very good length of videos. I use it like it's a podcast. You could do it too. Sorry. But you can do it too, because that's what I did. Like, when I was making my breakfast in the morning, I would have it playing, or when I was taking a shower, washing my hair, I would have it playing. So just, take a look at some of those videos. I will link like 3 to 4 videos I think you could watch specifically from her channel, because I think that it would really help you get ready for this. But work on the budgeting, and then what I think you should really sit down and do. And this you're gonna have to clear time for, even if you have to do it before you go to work or wake up early or go to sleep a little bit later or find some time in the day. It should take you like 20-30 minutes. For me, it took me about like 20-30 minutes, but I was locked in. Go through all of your expenses for the month. Literally go through all your expenses for the month. So put in your rent, your bills and stuff, and things you must pay. For me, my phone bill, my gym membership, and my like everyday bills were necessities or things I have to pay. Also food. So I tend to try to spend like $70 a week because my boyfriend pays for the next week. That's the way we try to do it, but we kind of don't follow it to the T, but we do have that like budget right now. And like when I did my boyfriend's like budget, he was like, damn, I make so much money, and I didn't even realize how much money that I have left over after I pay all that stuff. And you realize, like, once you do like your subscriptions and things that you regularly spend money on, like your necessities. So I wouldn't budget like, oh, what this is money that I have for once. Don't do that yet. Just kind of do the things that you're like, okay, I pay this much for my phone bill. I pay this much for this bill, that bill. This is how much I normally spend on groceries, or I want to aim to spend on groceries. And then this is my gym membership, and this is like the gas. Like I spend at least like 50, I don't know, like $80, $50 to $80 or more on gas every week. And then you are going to take the weekly stuff and you're going to times it by 4. And then you're going to add all of that number together. And once you get that number, you're going to then go through and like give yourself an estimate of how many hours you usually get a week or every 2 weeks, and then how much you get paid. And you're going to calculate how much your monthly income typically is. And whatever like that number might be, that would be, how do I explain? That would be your number that once you minus that from that, that would be your leftover money from like for like your wants, extra things, your needs, your savings account, debts and stuff like that. And you'll realize like how much money you could have been spending on things you want if you kind of put it all together. So my advice is you should just get yourself ready to kind of know what you want to do with the money you're gonna make or your salary or whatever. Like just come up kind of with a budgeting system that makes sense for your lifestyle. And then when you're able to do that, it will make it a lot easier, if that makes sense. I Yeah, I don't know if it makes sense, but I think it makes sense. Okay, so now that I rambled for like a bit, but I've drunk some water and like, because I started to have a little bit of a coughing fit. So I'm fine now though. So we're going to turn up still and I'm going to read success, riches, and fate. Okay? Um, it says success. It says success, problem solving, achievement, realization of dreams in all aspects. It says the sun has been regarded as a sacred entity in many cultures and interpreted as a symbol of high status and power. Therefore, success is associated with the sun naturally brings glory and authority. In this context, the fifth success card signifies that you are one step closer to experiencing and achieving success in your goals. In other words, it signals that time has come for the effort and passion you have invested to bear fruit. You are entering a period of experiencing success where your past efforts will be rewarded and acknowledged. This recognition extends not only from those around you, but also from within yourself, leading to inner satisfaction and fulfillment. And then I'm gonna read richness because I think this is really good. I think if you are someone who has worked hard towards a long goal, like you've already put in the work, like let's say you've completely completed the project. Let's say you're in school, you're in college, and like you have submitted your final, okay, and now you're waiting to get your A plus. You're gonna get your A plus. Like you already finished it, you've already submitted it. Now you just have to sit back and reap the benefits of what you've done. You know, the hard work that you've put in. You just have to let it come back. You have to let it just come in. For richness, it says economical abundance, financial gain, prosperity, happiness, abundance, and prosperity. It says this card derives from the word commerce, commerce, and business associated with Mercury. While it's directly titled Money Coins, the title has been adjusted to be more comprehensive and to indirect to enhance the expansiveness and general. Oh my gosh, this is a lot of big words in one. Sorry, you guys. It says, however, the context remains the same, revolving around transactions, financial gains, where one to one too many, or many and too many exchanges of material wealth. Therefore, it can be understood as the same card, and it is particularly for financial fortune compared to romantic and interpersonal relationships. It says, you are entering a favorable period of abundance and blessings from the heavens. You will revel in the happiness and fulfillment while receiving and being attention from others around you. I said that. You can understand this card is similar to the Six of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. It is highly expected for financial rewards or tangible achievements in any area, and individuals represented by the abundance card, which is in this deck, will be wealthy, high incomers, or come from prestigious backgrounds capable of providing you with material support and benefits. So there is that. I did say that though. When you are successful, there will be people who will not be happy for you, or not that they're not happy for you, but they're like, how come she gets to have her own business? And it to people sometimes it seems like to other people it's overnight success, but to you, you know how hard you worked. And that's the difference. When people tend to envy another person's success, they don't realize how hard that person had to work to get to where they are now. You can see a woman who is now rich and is a crazy real estate agent, but what you didn't know is that during her times that she was getting her real estate license and she was constantly at the office, or she was at her 9 to 5 job, or like at the same time, she probably balanced 2 jobs before her business blew up. There's a lot of people who were single mothers starting a business and eventually it blew up. Like if you ever watched the Beauty Insider, you should watch that, or Business Insider. It's on YouTube. They have one for like Juicy Couture, the rise and the fall of Juicy Couture. Obviously, we're not going to talk about the fall part, but more of the rise part, where it was actually created as maternity wear. They said that there wasn't much maternity wear that was fashionable for women, and so they came out with their tracksuits. And what they did was is they actually started sending them as PR at that time to celebrities. And I think they said it was Lindsay Lohan that wore it first, or someone famous wore it first while leaving a hotel. And people were like, what is that? And after that, Juicy Couture literally blew up. And when it was those two people owning that, they probably didn't expect much to come from sending these people this free stuff, and they probably were having their fingers crossed, hoping for the best, and the best came true. You know what I'm saying? But people may look at it and just be like, oh, they probably were some rich ladies that, took tracksuits and put gemstones on it. But what they don't realize is that they were currently going through something, and they decided to do something to fix that thing. You know, they saw that there was not that much fashionable maternity wear, so they created something in like casual wear. So they created something for that market, and people loved it. It was leisure wear that was so stylish, and so like fabric was so good at quality, like it looked gorgeous, it looked stylish. And some people may not even take that jump to even start a business, but you have, and you if you're not currently someone who has already started your business and it's gone live and you just got to wait for it to kind of reap the benefits, I would say go to PAL 2, because PAL 2 is more of like how where you were before, and then here you are now. You're going to be in September like seeing the money roll in. You know what I mean? And people will not know how hard you really worked and how you had to pick yourself up, you know? People don't understand how you had to keep going even when you were not getting benefits, from your hard work yet. When you're starting a business, people don't understand it takes a lot of thinking, planning, and execution. It takes a lot of finding time whenever you can to support that business, even when there's no money being made, even when you're not really seeing the numbers you want to see yet, or you haven't seen the numbers yet. But when you do start seeing the numbers, it keeps you going. You know what I mean? But people don't understand that every business has to start somewhere. So when they see you, they're like, oh, they have this amazing business that just blew up overnight. It didn't blow up overnight. This is like a passion project for me. You wouldn't know about that because you're not me. You don't know what my passions were since I was younger. And you don't know how hard I had to push, and all the naysayers and the people who told me I couldn't do it. You don't know about that life. You don't know about what I went through. You just see my success. So if that happens to you, do not feel bad. Do not let people make you feel bad for being successful. Just, you don't even have to humble them. You don't even have to be like, first of all, I went through, you don't even have to do that. You could just say, hey, nothing happens overnight. This was a long time coming for me, and, it took time. I'm going to take a small sip of my water. And now I'm going to, sorry. Now I'm going to read the definition for fate, which is interruption, setback, separation, disconnect, mannerisms, karma, death, and termination. It says, this signifies inevitable separation and endings. You can understand this card as the death card, just as various new life forms sprout from the stump that has been cut off. Even though the tree has extended its usefulness, while you may not achieve the desired outcome, there's a possibility for new opportunities or narratives to unfold as a result of the situation that's already ended. It says that the signs of a difficult situation will come to an end soon and be resolved. One notable positive aspect of this card is that the stress and burden from the past will come to an end. So I take this as like you this may feel like a burden, like especially when you're starting a business and like you don't like, excuse me, we live in such a world where we go to a job, we clock in, and then we know we're going to get money, in 2 weeks when our paycheck comes, or if you get paid weekly at the end of the week, or if you get paid daily, I know I'm going to get my $100. I put in this work and I get that money right after. When it comes to business ventures and certain things like that, it is usually not the same day, especially if you're doing something like real estate, you're trying to sell a house, like, girl, you don't get the, you know, sign whatever the bone. I don't know too much about real estate, but you don't get that money right away. You don't just be like, okay, I got the money today, I got that check today. I have to go and show these people the house and get them the house that they like, and then they can refer me to someone else, and then I have to do this, this, that, and the third. Especially if you're like someone who, if you're planning to rent out or Airbnb, anything like that, is like you don't get paid, especially if you live in a place that's a smaller town and not that many people are visiting, and you have your like, okay, my Airbnb makes a crazy amount of money during spring break, Christmas, summertime, and New Year's or something like that, when people typically vacation is when I make money. So it's not the same as like you put your Airbnb listing. Let's say you have put your Airbnb listing up, and let's say you had that listing up for a few months and no one has booked yet. No one has booked yet. You've had some people liking it, and then randomly it's like a book after book after book, and you literally have to like go to them, and like you're getting booked so much you have to hire a cleaning service, and you're getting booked so much that now you can afford to turn the place you currently live into a Airbnb as well, and purchase a new home or something like that. You know what I mean? Even if you're like just renting out a little shed in your backyard or something like that, it can help you fund more business ventures and become multiple streams of income. So it's just to say, like, whenever you are kind of doing things like that, your life is going to change, if that makes sense. Life is going to change, and you're not going to be the same person you were. Like, you're not going to be the same person you were when you were broke. And I don't mean that you're broke right now, but I mean, like, if your success is being financially wealthy, right, and you're rich now, right, you're going to be able to buy more. You're going to be able to spend more money. You're going to be able to buy a high price item on a menu at a restaurant. You're going to be able to, it's not going to be the same. But some of us tend to feel a little guilty about spending a lot of money, because when you're somebody who was never used to having a lot of money, you kind of feel bad when you're just throwing money around. So you have to kind of leave that mindset behind and realize, okay, I'm a new person. I need to think like someone who has money, because you don't want to be one of those people who's stuck in financial trauma, and it's like you're rich but you hoard everything that you have because you're scared you're going to lose it. Having that mindset can make you lose things, and having that mindset can hold you hostage and have you like kind of like a prisoner for a long time in your life, until you wake up. And you don't want 10 years to go by, you're successful, but you haven't even reaped the benefits of your success because you're so stuck in that poverty mindset. So just make sure that you realize that you can do more now. It's okay to do more now. But I also want to say, remember, like, this is you preparing for September. So keep working hard for the rest of this like month. Like, yes, we know you're going to be successful, but just keep working hard. Don't just be calm and like, okay, now I don't gotta worry too much type of beat. Don't do too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember, you still have to work. You still have to work, Plan that vacation, babe. But also remember, keep working, because you're not in September yet. You're gonna be in September, but you know what I mean? Like, make sure you keep working, but just know your hard work is paying off. It is. So I think I was gonna go into the next oracle deck, which I was gonna do the um angel answers, but we're not gonna do angel answers actually. We're gonna do the Edgar Allan Poe deck because I've been wanting to use it. So let's get started. I'm gonna try to get like about 4 to 5 cards on this. So we have the Knight of Eyes. I will tell you, oops, I'll tell you what that means in just a moment. We have the Ace of Ravens and the Hermit. The Knight of Ravens, and then the Three of Hearts in reverse. Let's turn up. I'll read them to you, like what each of these ones mean that we have here, so you can kind of understand what they mean in the original tarot deck. I really love this deck. If you like Edgar Allan Poe and like the stories and stuff, I would say you can buy it, definitely. It was on sale at Barnes and Nobles. If you go to the Barnes and Noble sale section, you'll find a lot of tarot decks and oracle stuff on sale. So do not buy the expensive ones unless you go look, because they have a Jane Austen tarot deck on sale right now. It's like $15. Anyways, the eyes is gonna be wands, the ravens are gonna be cups, and the suits is gonna be hearts is gonna be the sword, and graves represents pentacles. You don't have any graves here, but I just wanted to bring that up, that graves is the pentacles. So we have the Knight of Eyes, which is the Knight of Wands. We have the Ace of Cups. We have the Knight of Cups here, the Hermit card, and then we have the Three of Swords, but in reverse. So I first of all, this perfectly aligns with kind of what's happening, and especially if you are a little single person that's ready to like mingle and get to know some people. I think you definitely will have success there as well, because you're kind of focusing on yourself and your craft, and you have been for so long that now that your worries are now different than your worries were before. So now you're a little more open to love and relationships. Right now you're independent, I believe. And if you're not, maybe a new leaf will turn, and maybe like your significant other would be like, damn, like the person I'm with is so successful, and like I think they will appreciate that. But be careful, because there's sometimes where in relationships someone can feel bad if their partner's making more than them. So just be reassuring if that person ever insinuates or seems like they're like kind of downing themselves a little bit just because they don't make as much anymore, or like you kind of can afford more than they can. Just kind of remind them that it's like, listen, this was a passion project for me that I made money from, okay? If now that we have more money, that means that you can put in for your passion project too. Because what if your significant other wants to be like a personal trainer, and now because of your business, they're able to go and get that certification, and you know, maybe even switch jobs to become a personal trainer, or even rent out a studio and meet people, and maybe they're able to do more. And maybe they're someone who wants to be a mechanic, or they are a mechanic and they want to open their own shop, and now they're able to kind of look at that and see you as inspiration, and then you're able to be like, hey, look, it worked for me and it can work for you, and it's gonna work for you, babe. And you just kind of put that spark in them to push forward to, and you're gonna inspire a lot of people in your lives, especially if you are someone that came from humble beginnings, to realize that they can embark on a journey that will help them kind of free themselves from their past circumstances turn up. So now I'm gonna read from here. So we're gonna start with the Knight of Eyes, and it says here, the Knight of Eyes is a young warrior who loves adventure. He can be kind and generous as a friend and a lover, but also cruel and hasty. So this just means that I see this as you being like, you're locked in, and when you're locked in, you can become like, I'm not making time for anyone. And that's where the Hermit card comes in, and people may see you as like they may not like the fact that you're successful because you're focusing more on your business. And don't do that too much. Remember to still have fun, but there's going to be times where you have to tell your friends, girl, I'm sorry I can't hang out because I have to go and clean my Airbnb for the next guest. I'm sorry, but I will, make some time in my schedule to hang out with you. Or, oh, I'm sorry I can't do that because I gotta pack all of my packages and I gotta drop them off at the USPS so that I can get my stuff out in time and people can get their stuff. Especially if you have an Etsy shop or something like that. If you crochet, you make bracelets, you sell crystals, whatever you're selling, whatever you're making here, you will have success. You'll have success there, but it will cause you to kind of like come up with a schedule. There's a lot of people on like Etsy and Depop and stuff that have it where it's like I drop off mail on Mondays and Wednesdays, or Mondays and Thursdays, or I ship every Monday or Tuesdays and Thursdays. I ship every Friday and Monday. Come up with the 2 times a week where you ship your products out, or 2 times a week where you film and you record and put videos out, or like pick up a day where it's like, okay, this day or this many days before my Airbnb people move in, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna make sure to schedule showings. This is gonna be my days that I do showings. Like I'm gonna do showings on Saturdays and Sundays, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, or I'm gonna do this in just around this time period, and just stuff like that. Just remember to like make a schedule. People may see you as harsh because you're having to limit your people's access to you, but there's nothing wrong with that, especially if it is to benefit yourself. But just remember to make time for other people as well, and not just business. Now we're gonna move on to the Raven of Ace of Ravens. The Ace of Ravens, sorry. The Ace of Ravens represents emotion, love, and longing, and the the suit of Ravens, sorry, represents emotions, love, and longing, and the Ace represents the seed of love, a new love attraction, or just a feeling of love for the whole world. So yeah, I feel like maybe you're going to see the world through a way different lens now that you have more success, and part of you is going to love it and part of you is going to hate it, because you're going to love that people assume the best of you, but you're going to hate that the old version of you ever had to deal with people judging you, you know? And that's hard because, you know, money means so much to people, and some people don't even look at you if you're like as a human if you don't make a certain amount of money, and they treat you as if you're beneath them. And now you may not be treated that way anymore, maybe because you get a new car, maybe because you get a new bag, and maybe because you spoil yourself a little bit, but it's going to make you feel a little bit different. But then you're going to have a love for the world because you will use your success to kind of give back to people, and that's will be your way of like finding a new love, like even making time to volunteer for you know your church, or a church that you decide to go to. I don't know, I just use church as an example because a lot of people tend to volunteer at churches. Like if you go to one of those places that are like food banks but they're also churches, or if you've ever went to a food bank, why don't you see if they will allow you to volunteer or donate things, or donate enough money for them to kind of get more food for more people, maybe able to volunteer to spread the word more about the food bank. And if you have friends that you meet that are also successful, you could tell them, hey, this food bank needs some funding. Can you help me fund them? I have been giving them like, $100 here and there to help fund, but is there any way that you can help fund? And then that changes something in your town, and it trickles down and it trickles down, and you will find a new love for what you have, but you will also find a new love in kind of giving back to who you were. And I think that that is really good. And it can be new love in relationships, especially when I said that you might have been neglecting it and you're a single baddie. So it's time for you to get out there. I think that that is something good as well. And men can be baddies too. by the way. So when I say baddie, everybody's a baddie, okay? My man's a baddie too. He don't like it when I say it, but he's a baddie sometimes. Like he be sick, y'all. Um it says the hermit card. The hermit is wise and introspective. He is a guide on your journey and can surface in your life as an expert in your field or a spiritual leader. When this card appears in your reading, you may need to retreat a bit from the hustle and bustle of everyday life to spend alone time to think, reflect, and learn. Trust that you are on a journey and the destination will become clearer over time. So I think, yeah, like the hermit card is about treating and being alone. So don't overwork yourself to death, because some people, when they are successful, they become workaholics, and that's not good. We don't want you to overwork yourself to where you're sick and you're rich but you never take a vacation. Like, don't do that. When you get the time to save up enough to vacation, go vacation, experience the world. You will find a new love in being alone, and but also traveling and meeting new people, trying new foods. And you don't even have to go and travel the world first. Maybe you can do like a nice little trip to like Alaska or something, or Montana when it's snowy, and just see the snow. Or maybe you can do a nice little trip to like the Hamptons, or like, even if you go to like Nashville or Atlanta or something like that, go and travel, experience some things, and like, don't work so hard to the point where you're working yourself to the bone and you have nothing left for yourself, because the money isn't going to. I believe that the saying money won't buy you happiness, I don't believe it. I believe that money can definitely make someone happy if they've been in a very humbling situation for a long time. But you have to remember that money isn't the only thing that you should let make you happy. And that happiness will run out once you have so much money that you feel like you don't even need to hustle for it anymore. And if you get in that hustle mindset so much that you don't try to find your love or joy in anything else, it can become a prison really fast. Because this is a passion project, definitely, but do not let the passion leave you, especially if it's like an art hobby. Do not put a price tag on your art now just because you're making a lot of money off of it. Still make art that you love, even if you're taking commissions. Still make art that you like on the side of doing these commissions. Get set time. So like, say you finish your commission for this person and it takes you 48 hours to finish it, or like 2 days to finish it. Give yourself 2 or 3 days in between starting your next one. Or like, give yourself like, okay, so like this week I'm only going to take on 3 clients. I'm going to make sure to space them out between the week. Or I have this commission I need to get done, and I'm going to, give myself 3 days to rejuvenate, to relax before I start my next commission. Or maybe you can do 2 commissions in 2 days period, and then like one day you work on one art all day long, and then the next day you work on your next commission, and then for the next 2 or 3 days you eat, rest, and you find time to draw or kind of do a concept that you really like for like a few hours in that day, and then you pick right back up and you start doing your commissions again. Just space out the hard work you're doing. Don't let it overtake you to the point where you feel like you're trapped and you're biting off more than you can chew. It says the Knight of Ravens is a hopeful card, suggesting that you are up for any challenge that comes your way. It represents a youthful and highly empathetic energy and the ability to recognize new opportunities and adventures. So I think, yeah, I feel like your success, and it's faded, but it's one of those things where it's like you're successful. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Like, it's like, imagine it's like those little, it's called Russian dolls, where like you kind of open up one and there's like a little one in there, and you keep opening it and it's more. Like, see that as like endless amount of opportunities that you will have because of your success. Like, the many streams of income you're able to do, because you start your Etsy shop, right? And you're selling your stickers, you're selling, um your crochet and stuff like that. And then you start making content about how to make crochets, and then you start being able to have a pop-up shop, and now you're able to travel a little bit while you're doing that. But then like you're able to like, also start a baking channel or start a little podcast, or you're able to use the money you're making from the crochet to invest in a writing career you always wanted or something like that. And you're able to just keep going. Like you're able to, you know, do so much now that you have so much more success. You're able to pour into like multiple cups. Just don't pour into so many that you don't have. You kind of make it hard for yourself. So like if you do sell on Etsy or you do your art commissions and then you kind of look around your room and you're like, there's some clothes I could sell on Depop, and because you have that platform, you're able to tell people, hey, I'm doing a clothing clean out, and maybe you can post your listings of your Depop, and maybe you can kind of post cute little art of your, you know, OC or your original character wearing some of the clothes that you are gonna be putting on your Depop, or something cute like that. Like, here, style my Depop, or like I love fashion, so I'm also gonna do Depop bundles, and like you can use an ad of your kind of your platform to be like, this is the type of pieces I will have in my bundle, especially if you love the thrift. So that could be something that's good. I'm gonna take another drink of water. Jesus. Whew. All right. Let's keep on going. So, the Three of Hearts in reverse means small scale upheaval or minor loss. So, I think this minor loss card definitely means like minor loss of free time, minor loss of like being alone, or minor loss of people. Like I said, like people you have to shut out of your life because maybe they're not the most positive about your success, or they want to limit you. And that is part of the reason why I say to just remember to make time for yourself and make time for the people who really want to support you and be there for you. But there may be some things that you have to let go of as you step into success. Like maybe you have to move or relocate due to a job offer that you just got, and you're going to make so much money, but you may be a little farther from your family because of that job offer. And now you have to get a storage unit, or you have to put your things at your mom's house or your dad's place or your sister's place, and you have to move. You know, you might have to distance yourself from people that are your friends. You may have to move to like maybe you have to move to San Francisco or Canada or something, or overseas, to be able to make this amount of money. But you are going to love yourself for it because you took the chance and you did something true to yourself. And now because of that, when you're over in that other country or that another state or that another place, you find the love of your life, or you find a way to carve a new life for yourself that is more fulfilling. And we have these angel message cards here, so I'm going to shuffle those real quick. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do one more. It's going to be 3. Alright, T, let's go. Alright, the first card we have here is success, which is double success, so we're turning up. We have not the right time, and then we have take action. So if you think you're going to, have you ever seen the meme where the man is like digging a hole and he stops right before he hits the diamonds? Don't let that be you. Keep taking action throughout the course of the rest of this month. Keep posting, keep going, because in September is when that success is going to happen. like I would say for me, I see not the right time as it's not the right time for you to give up, to keep going. Like it's not the right time to slack. If you want success, you got to keep going for it, if that makes sense. So just keep trying. Don't let yourself give up, because sometimes it takes a lot of willpower to keep going and to keep pulling yourself out of it, the hole. But, just keep going because you got it and your success is meant for you. And now I'm gonna do the moon. I got 2 cards for this. I don't know if I have been or not. But I think I'm gonna get 2 cards for it. These cards I kind of picked out towards the front, like beginning of the reading, but I kind of like to, I kind of like the cards to just come out. I'm not really a spread the deck and pull a card out type of person. So I'm going to put these back in because I kind of picked those ones. As I was setting up for the reading, there were like some cards that flew out while I was shuffling, and I'm like, well, maybe this is meant for palestry, but if it's meant to come out, it'll come back out. I kind of like it when I'm in the flow state of talking about it and what cards come out. Okay, this one. Baker. Alright, so we got 2. So we have your commitment is being tested. And that is first quarter moon. And then we have conclusions are within reach. So we're going to do your commitment is being tested, which that's what I'm saying. Do not stop because maybe you've posted everything on your Etsy and you're about to just close it down and delete every listing. Do not do that. Do not. Okay? You need to show the universe that you're ready and that you're going to stand 10 toes down on your business venture over that. Your commitment to striving to push this success, to get to it, is being tested. Don't let it stop you though, because you're meant for greatness, Excuse me. There could be some challenges coming your way, but they are just the universe's way of testing you. The first quarter moon calls for you to face any hurdles with confidence. What do you actually think is possible? If you believe you can do it, then you probably can. If you spend your life affirming something is too big for you to surmount, it probably is. See how it works? Do you believe your dreams will come true, or have you secretly already given up? Showing some commitment now will help you move towards your desired outcome. What you believe to be true is true for you, so believe in yourself. It says, attune to the moon. I am committed to my dreams and move towards them with confidence. Additional meanings for this card is the answer to your question is yes, but not yet. You are halfway to your goal. You still need to put in a little more effort. Sometimes we just need to realize how much we want something, and then you need to recommit to someone or something. Teaching. It says in the lunar cycle, the first quarter moon comes between the new moon and the full moon. It's a time where the sun and the moon are at a hard astrological angle to each other, and this can prompt a small crisis. No matter when you pull this card, you need to see any drama as a stepping stone to where you want to be. It can also be a time where you need to stay strong through a storm. So just keep having faith in yourself as we go through these days leading up into September. Just keep trucking. Sometimes it feels like it's never ending, but don't stop yourself. It's like climbing Mount Everest and getting you're only, what are you like? You're way over halfway there. Let's say you're 90% there. Are you gonna turn around and start walking down? Or are you gonna go ahead and just walk that 10%, get your view, get your photos, and then come down? You know what I'm saying? And then walk down. Why would you stop when you're already 90% there? You're 95% there. This is the 10 to 5%, or 5 to 10% left for you to push. So why would you stop pushing and go backwards? You're right there, you know? So that's something to think about. Okay, let's hurry up. There we go. Full moon eclipse, and just like that, a door slams shut. If you pull this card, it suggests that a situation that you are asking about is about to reach its peak or has just done so and things are now out of your hands. What you're experiencing is what your soul signed up for, a way for you to learn and a way for your soul to evolve. So allow the events to unfold and be easy on yourself. If you are letting go of someone or something, just know it's the right time. As hard as it may be, forgiving someone for what they did could be the key to resolving the situation in a positive way. It does not make what they did right, but it releases it so you can move on. Attuned to the moon says, what is meant for me will not pass me by. It says, doors which slam shut now will not be reopened. It is time for you to get back on track. Forgiveness will set you free of karma. Meditation. Oh, I did say I wanted to do the yoga deck. It says meditation and yoga are recommended now. Succeed, control, and let events unfold. Full moons are rarely about climaxes. Nearly always about climaxes and very often about conclusions. The full moon eclipses are the same, but on steroids. A full moon eclipse can be hard to handle because it's proportionate change, something many of us are uncomfortable with, but change is a part of life. And this card, no matter when you pull it, reminds you of that. Full moon eclipses can also give you a glimpse into what Carl Jung called the shadow self. So work with your darkness. So if you feel like you're about to backtrack, okay, so hold on. I'm realizing something here. Okay, so before, it says fate here, and then it says conclusions. And fate was about closing and separating, right? And then you have not the right time. You have take action, and you have your commitments being tested. So, clock this. To me, that means you were about to give up. Don't do that. It's not, you're going to be mad. You're going to be real mad, girl. You're going to be real mad because don't do it. Please don't, because your light is at the end of the tunnel, girl. You got to keep going. Like, I don't want to see you stop because that's not good. I feel like, I know, but I just feel like you're tired. And like, what's wrong in taking a little break? But don't take a break for so long that you don't get back at it, because then that's when your dream is going to pass you by. We don't want that, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to kind of go through the wild archetypes. Okay, this one. Okay, hold on. Oh, there's a lot of cards coming out. I mean, you can take one, but I kind of want to take both of these. So, you know what? I'm going to stop shuffling. I'm going to leave both of there. All right. Sorry. Let's get out my little book. All right. So, this first one is the storm. Okay. It says the chaos, the whirlwind, the disorder. Possessing an energy much like the Tarot Tower card. The storm undoes all that is. Everything that was solid, known, and relied upon is stripped away by the winds of fate. The ground becomes the sky, and the sky becomes the center, and then the center disappears. The storm is a great equalizer. No matter how far we've come on the path, no matter our age, our wealth, or our wisdom, we cannot hide from its savage winds. The disrupting howls stir anxiety and makes it impossible to see and think straight. You must wait it out. If you try to fight the storm, you will lose. The better option is seeking temporary shelter and a reliable friend. And when all else fails, go within. There, for a moment, you settle in the eye of the storm. And it says, when light, meaningful. It says, when light, meaningful annihilation. When dark, meaningless disorder and dysfunction. Go deeper. It says the tornado scene in the Wizard of Oz. In the Wizard of Oz. And it says here, the storm lays bare the truth that there's a force larger than you. This understanding isn't a relief, but also a predicament of power that requires your surrender. And it says the storm's intention is to rebalance your equilibrium. Yes, I ate that. It is a result of precarious conditions, but not the cause of them. So, that was the storm card, and then I'm gonna flip over the other one, and that is the thread. Where is that at? That's L, and it's X and X. I don't know my Roman numerals. My mom knows them down, but I do not know them. I wish I did, but girl. Okay, here it is. The thread, it says the path, the vine. The way it looks in the photo is crazy to me because it's like it's pulling itself. It's like you're pulling yourself up. It says the path, the vein, and the circuit. It says life is tangible, or life is a tangle. Oh my God, can I read? Life is a tangle. So much happens simultaneously and circuitously, leaving us grappling for meaning and direction in a network of distractions. When we connect to the energy of the thread, however, we strike the deepest vein in the body. Our whole body responds to its tug, meaning is pumped through our bloodstreams. Our minds and spirits are lifted. We remember who we are and what we came into this world to do. Though this happens on the most profound level, it could be the simplest incident that activates the thread. The song, the image, the conversation heard in passing. No matter how confusing and multi-layered our modern lives have become, if we are connected to the thread, we are free. Being tethered to it is our only anchor our heart requires. And it says, when light, the circuit of meaning within chaos. When dark, binding, frustrated, and taunting. Go deeper. The statues of Eva Hesse, Hesse, so maybe that means something, if you know what it is. It says, you may think that you have to find the thread and pull it. Imagine, though, that it's already tied around you, waiting for you to follow it home. That's so sweet. And it says, recall a moment in your life when you felt fully alive. The thread is waiting for you to admit the details of that memory. So, before I wrap the reading up, I'm going to give just a small ramble here about the storm card and the thread. I think that you have weathered a storm. Like, you've been through a lot in your life, and it can be what's holding you back because you have this fear that you look silly trying so hard to be successful. Like, you feel like success is not something that people just gain. You think that, like, you have to do all these crazy things, and some people are meant to succeed and some people are meant to be losers. And if you have that mindset, that's what you'll be. You know, you cannot allow yourself to think like that. There's enough for everyone to go around. it doesn't seem like it is, but if there's people that are able to be billionaires in this world, half of that billion could have been to you and can be to you. And every day people buy things. Every day people spend money. Every day people are getting paid. Every day people are ready to spend their paychecks once they get it. So I think you need to realize that whatever is trying to stop you and put a roadblock in your way, you need to just follow your heart center, follow your head, follow yourself, and follow that feeling of I can do it. I can do it, and keep going, because things become hard. They do. And things tend to have resistance, and sometimes the universe and it will test you and will put something in your way. And if you're someone who ever believed in God, people will say the same thing as well. Like, you will be tested. You will be tested. And if you're not strong enough to pass that test, then maybe that won't manifest. So you need to just push through and just allow yourself to kind of let those, it's like a storm of negative thoughts trying to doubt you and stop you from going harder and finishing out this race that you have going on with, making money. Do not let yourself stop just because of that, because you're going to rob yourself of happiness. You're going to rob yourself of success, happiness, and no one, you know, wants that ever in their lives. And you need to know that you are very capable of being successful. It just takes time, but do not let the fact that you're in a waiting period right now stop you from gaining that success in September, because it's not whether or not you immediately hit like 1 billion views on YouTube next month. It's that like it starts to begin to trickle in, and by the end of September, when September closes, you will be like, I have been successful. But this is preparing you for that. So you can't just be like, okay, well, I've done everything and now I just gotta sit here. Keep working, because while that's growing, you can continue to grow more. So keep working. If you're creating for your Etsy shop, um when it comes to like creating little bracelets, or let's say you go and you find seashells and you make necklaces, or you do some type of clay work, keep working that clay, keep making those things, and keep posting more and more and more, because who knows, like, what if your stuff starts selling out so quick, and then now you're like have an influx of orders or an influx of people wanting to kind of order from you, but because you didn't make, enough. It's like having a bakery and you don't expect to sell much opening day, but then you end up selling so much that you have to close the store for, a certain amount of hours so that you can restock and recreate everything, when you could have continued to bake more so that you would have enough for everyone coming in. So just think of it like that. God, Lord. I'm glad I'm at the end of this, God. All right. It's 2:22. I looked at the clock and it was 12. It was 12:22. So if 2 is something for you, this message is definitely resonating with you, I believe. If you made it this far through the video, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to allow me to give you advice, speak in your ear, and ramble while I look at my cute little tarot cards and create this spread for you and give you advice. Advice is something that people kind of, they pick and choose who they want to take it from, and who they want to listen to. And the fact that you were able to listen to me talk about this and kind of give you my thought process on what you should do with preparing, it's nothing is set in stone. And also, like, I'm just reading for a collective energy. I am not, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is just, something that I like to do for fun, but I also like to do because I feel like I have a purpose to help people the purpose to give people that advice and to just, have that connection with someone and be there for someone. And I'm there for the people in my life, but I feel like my advice can range out to more people. And so anytime anyone listens to my words, it means a lot to me. I would love to know what resonated with you if you would like to comment. And I would love for you to come back during September and just tell me everything. And whether or not things resonated with you once heard my words here, if it made you come back to my video. I love that. And thank you thank you so much just for, lending your ear to me and my little rambles. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day, the week, and I hope that whatever success you find, I hope you know that you deserve it and you're very worthy of that success, 100%, and that you should never have imposter syndrome because you deserve to be where you are. Alright, so I'm going to end this video off with just the cutest short little message here. Thank you guys so much for watching my channel. If you would like to support me, I will be opening a Patreon where I do cute little fun videos. And I have a few ideas I want to routinely do throughout my channel. So I am really, really hoping I am able to deeply connect with anyone who reads tarot and has any like cool tarot spread ideas. I think maybe through my Patreon I've been thinking about maybe doing like custom spreads or like spreads I find online, since like when I'm reading for messages here I don't follow like the Nordic cross, I think it's what it's called. Oh my god, if I'm not, no, Celtic cross, I'm so sorry, the Celtic cross. I don't really follow it. I follow that mostly whenever I'm reading for myself or I'm reading, just to read. But I really follow that often whenever I'm just, spreading out some cards and getting a message because I like it to be very intuitive. But I would love to do like some collective readings where I like follow the like a cute spread that I find online or a funny spread and I can give like a cute collective reading or something like that. Anything fun, I would love to do it. And you know, yeah, thank you again just for even listening. And I have some very, very fun concepts and topics coming up, so just look out for that. Yeah, by the time this video is up, I want this video to be up on the 15th. I'm going to definitely try my best to make a video before or put out a video on September 15th for October, and the same on October 15th. And I'm gonna make sure to make this a reoccurring thing, like boots on the ground. I'm gonna do it because everyone starts somewhere, and in this video I definitely was nervous, but I think I will get better with time, and I am not going to let myself be held back and not post because I'm nervous that I didn't do good enough, because everyone has to start somewhere and I'm starting here and that's okay. um and I just really appreciate you listening so long and even listening to this part here. Thank you so, so much. And I really hope you have a blessed month to come. And I really am just very, very grateful that you were listening. So make sure to take good care of yourself. Make sure to drink water. Make sure you're, taking care of some thing that you've been procrastinating. So if you've been procrastinating anything for this week, make sure you set time to do that one thing. If it is your laundry, make sure you do it, okay? Like, this, I think that's just my challenge for you for the rest of this week as well. So have a good one and take care. See you in the next video, or hear you, and I hope you hear me in the next video. Yeah.